125-119. The Sacramento Kings blow a big game tonight. Damn. I can't even lie to you guys. This was a tough loss. No matter how you guys slice it, coming off a 6-game road trip, it's very typical for teams to come out jet lagged. Some even say uninspired. But I don't think that was the case tonight for the Kings in terms of being uninspired, because the energy was in the building and Kings fans showed up and the lines were all the way to Punch Bowl Social. So it felt like a playoff game. It felt like the old barn out there, Sleep Train, Arco Arena from back in the day. Like, it felt like this team is relevant, and they made their comebacks and they took the lead and they just couldn't get the job done. I don't think the refs are an issue tonight. I really don't. They missed a lot of free throws. Mike Brown, after the game, pretty much said, you know what? Say we make half or a little bit more than half, we might have won the game, but we didn't deserve to win the game. And I agree with him, because the attention to detail on defense was not there tonight. It just wasn't. And we'll watch the highlights and kind of see where they went, haywire and whatnot. But the Sacramento Kings tonight did not have it in terms of paying attention to those meticulous details on defense. And even offensively, besides Fox and Sabonis, some of the others struggled tonight. And we'll get into that. And obviously, I'll make a separate video, but we'll discuss it entirely, in its entirety, about Richaun Holmes and why he's not playing. I thought it was nice for Mike Brown to give me a 3-minute answer. It was a long answer. It was his version of it. Maybe it caught him off guard because no one's asked him the question yet, but I had to get off my chest because I feel like I talk about this every single post-game show. And I feel like Richaun, whether you love him or hate him, is what's best for the Sacramento Kings in terms of the backup five and trying to spell Domantas Sabonis, with 8 to 15 minutes a night. I believe Richaun Holmes at his best is the perfect backup for Sabonis. But Mike Brown, if you read between the lines, I feel like he doesn't believe that. And we'll get into it. But yeah, the energy was there. The energy was definitely there from the fans tonight. So shout out to that. That in itself was a highlight for me, because I have not felt that much energy on the Monday night. Okay. I get it. LaMelo Ball is in the house. He's box office. For whoever tells me one more time that Tyrese Halliburton is better than LaMelo Ball, you're on that good stuff, brother. Because there is no way he is a better basketball player. There are levels to this, and LaMelo Ball is definitely ahead of him. I understand he hasn't played most of the damn season, but the disrespect to even remotely think that he's a better basketball player, come on, y'all. I get it. He gets the knock for not playing hard and being on cruise control and playing reckless at times, but LaMelo Ball is a better basketball player. They're both awful defensively. Tyrese is a better team defender, but individually, they're both awful defensively. Make no mistake about it. This episode of the CK Podcast postgame show is presented by Medici Sacramento across the Golden One Center, the perfect spot to go pre and post game. Pre-gaming with your boys, with your girls, with your significant others, and then post-game it when the Kings light the beam, because tonight wasn't one of those nights. They could not light the beam. I was excited. I thought they would, and I thought they'd make the comeback, but it's part of it, man. It's part of it. Shout out to Medici Sacramento, best pizza in Sacramento without question. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Devin says, I cannot get over the fact that ham cost $90 at Rayleigh's. What ham? I'm lost. What ham you talking about? Game runs, 14 free throws. Basketball zone make me not divorce the Kings and have 25 years as a vet. He could come down lane and give me more therapy. Hornets took away our cookie. Oh, I get it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Is it because they didn't miss the second free throw? I bet $874 to win 260 on the Kings -4. Oof. I bet the Hornets +2.5 at the half. And I won. Ouch. Nick, my brother. I fell for you. I've been there before, man. Oof. That hurts, bro. That hurts. Smash the like button though, or dislike. That's a moment of dislike. That's a moment of heartbreak. That is tough. Oof. Damn it. I'm sorry, brother. Damn. You could have had the Kings +3.5, +4.5. Still wouldn't have covered, but that would have made you feel better at least. Because -488 money line. That's tough. That is tough. But they never got over 4.5. I mean, I was looking at the line the whole game. They were down by 12. 3.5 was the most. At the end of the game, when they were down by 8, it got to 4.5. But it was there. Like, Vegas expected the Kings to come back, and they were very strict with the line. So if you took the Hornets before the game, that +10, man, good for you. You made some money tonight. If you were crazy enough to take them money line, good for you. But that would have been a stupid bet in itself, taking the Hornets money line against the Kings, which is crazy in itself to say. But damn, my brother. But the other team, man, a week before Christmas, man, I apologize, but that's part of it, man. Those are the risks that you got to take sometimes. Man. Damn. All right, man. Let's get to this one. Kelly Oubre tonight, 31 points. He loves playing against the Sacramento Kings. He loves it. 12 of 25, 3 of 8, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 31 points. That's a good game for him. He still falls asleep way too much on the weak side or whenever he's just ball watching, right? When he's not on the ball, he's not that good. When he's on the ball, he's solid. Moves his seat very well. He's physical, he's long, but off the ball, he's awful. LaMelo Ball, off the ball, on the ball, he's terrible. He was in foul trouble tonight. I thought Maladon did a good job in spelling him for those minutes. He played 26 minutes tonight. LaMelo played 27, but LaMelo was just special. In the second half. I mean, that dude was just special in the second half. 5 of 10 from beyond the arc. That's 50%. 12 assists, 23 points, and 23 points, 12 assists in 27 minutes. That's big time. Hayward played 37 minutes. The second game back, I believe, 19 points. I would love him on my team. And that guy just knows how to play basketball. The only issue with him is injuries. But I would take him over Harrison Barnes in a heartbeat. Again, the only thing wrong with him is his injuries, which is the biggest thing in professional sports because availability is the best ability. We all know that. PJ, bad game tonight. 29 minutes, 3 points. Didn't feel him, didn't see him. I don't know. I can't say much about him. I thought Mason Plumlee was exceptional tonight. 15 points, 7 of 8. Defensively, you got an ox out there. It's hard to guard Sabonis, 28 and 23. But I thought Mason offensively, I just feel like a lot of people will leave this game thinking that they need Nick Richards. I wouldn't mind having Nick Richards. I like him a lot. He's athletic. He's a beast on the boards. He had 11 boards tonight in 23 minutes, 14 and 11. That's pretty damn good. But offensively, Mason Plumlee is a super, super poor man's version of Domantas in terms of being able to run that offense just well enough as the backup on this team would be such a blessing. We're talking about a dude who's always been a solid passer for his position. He had 3 assists tonight, but we don't on this show, if there's anything I would want my audience to take away is that we don't look at box score numbers as an end-all, be-all, as a true depiction of a basketball player, because there's so much more to this stupid box score that people don't really understand or comprehend or want to know about. And on this channel, this is all we do is we educate you guys in terms of what the context of this box score really means. Mason Plumlee can hoop. Mason Plumlee is beloved with his teammates, beloved around the league. People know he's a hooper. Right? He's not Sabonis, but he's a good player. And as a backup in that type of role, that would be maximizing his role. We talk about role optimization all the time. That would be a phenomenal role for a guy like Mason Plumlee, who would get about 15 minutes a night, give or take, right? That would be big time. And that would save Sabonis for the playoffs. Playoffs? We talking about playoffs. Did I just say that P word? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. On the day where they lost to the theoretically worst team record-wise in the NBA. Yes, I did. Playoffs. I did say the word. I think the Kings are a playoff team this year. 16-13. I get it. Probably not the night to drop the P word. But a Mason Plumlee would be an exceptional pickup. Nick Richards would be a great pickup as well. I'm not gonna lie and cap on here and be like, oh, he's good. But offensively, the way that Mason would be able to run and reciprocate some of the things that Sabonis does. And he's a very good lob threat. I mean, we saw it tonight. We had Kelly Oubre throwing him alley-oops. So take it for what it's worth, man. I'd rather have Mason Plumlee over Nick Richards. But if y'all give me Nick Richards, I wouldn't be mad at you. I'd be very happy. That's that. I would love me some McDaniels as well. People, he only had 6 points. There's more to it than that. Watch this game. See how well he'd fit on this team, on any team. I like him. I thought Maladon was really good in terms of running the offense. He was patient tonight. He was solid defensively. And people go, well, they scored 119 points. I get it. But for what it's worth and contextually speaking, he was solid. He was solid. Again, I hate the plus minus, but he was a +6 for a reason. Again, this is why I hate the plus minus, because when you get 28 points, 23 rebounds, and you're a +6 for the game, that tells you everything you got to know. Obviously, I understand the metric and how it calculates certain things, but come on, y'all. 28 points, 23 rebounds for Sabonis tonight. That's a monster. That's a monster. The Ox is he solidified his All-Star ticket tonight. For sure. Locked. Anthony Davis is injured. Lock him in right now. That's Sabonis for y'all. Harrison Barnes tonight. Okay. 29 minutes, was out for, I believe it's a quad contusion. I can double check on Twitter from the Kings communication team and to give you guys what exactly that was. But 29 minutes, 11 points. That's why he didn't come back into the game. He was out for the game, which was rough because they needed him. They needed him. He was having an okay game. If you guys watched the Instagram video where I compiled all the Shaq and the Fool moments, that was crazy. Like, they had some jet lag tonight. Keegan Murray, 4-9, 3 of 5, so he shot the ball well from beyond the arc, 11 points. You know, I don't know if I felt him tonight. His box score numbers aren't bad, but I don't know if I felt him. Y'all let me know in the comments below. Did you guys feel him? Did you think he made an impact tonight? I'm on the fence about it. De'Aaron Fox, 37 points, 14-25, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. That last one was gross. He missed it. He makes that down 4, you're down 1. People are starting to leave, but people in my section were like leaving, but they were kind of like still, with me right there, like looking back, oh my gosh. And then they turn the ball over and then they get the ball back and you're like, oh my God, here they come, the Cardiac Kings. And damn, he got the shot he wanted. He just missed. He ran out of gas. I mean, let's be honest. I still think he should have played more minutes. He only played 34 minutes tonight. But again, Mike likes to bring him in, bring him out, bring him in, bring him out. It's tough. Malik Monk, 25 minutes off the bench, 12 points, 1 of 6. I'm sure Tyson will say that, and I agree with him. It's kind of hard if you're not going to play a guy like Shemezi Metu, who's a good roller and who's been spectacular in the pick and roll with a guy like Malik Monk. Then you put a new guy in like Neemias Queta, who was a minus 12, which that's what it felt like to me. Just the eye test alone, the guy was going for every single block. Even when the ball was already in the air, he would try to swap at it, which would then put him out of position to grab the rebound. I think he gave up like 3 offensive rebounds. One to Kelly Oubre, who should not be rebounding over you at all. I'm sorry. That should not happen whatsoever. I did not like what I saw from Queta tonight. And we'll talk about the Overshawn Holmes thing, but I did not like what I saw from Trey Lyles. 5 minutes. Didn't feel him either. I'll be honest. Davion Mitchell, you felt him defensively. He was 3 of 4, 7 points, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. You felt that young man. 5 assists. He had a solid game. I like what I saw from Davion. I really did. TD had 15 minutes tonight, 2 points. You didn't feel him. He was a negative tonight. Again, that's what you get sometimes from a guy who, again, is a reserve on this team. I like him in that role. I've said that since the moment he got here, and I don't know why people have insane expectations for him. I understand he can go for 30 on, 1 out of like every 20 games, but, let's cool the jets on that one. That's who he is, and that's okay. I know TD is this. He's a bench player, which is a good thing for this team. It gives you depth. It gives you options at times to be that energizer bunny that you might need. But he's not starter material. I've been saying that. Whether he has 30 tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm going to say the same thing because I know what TD is. Just look at his game log. That's who he is. Okay? That's who he is. Kevin Huerter, 9 points. 3 of 8. I didn't like his game tonight. I don't know. Y'all let me know how you feel about him tonight. Obviously, I love Kevin, but I just didn't feel the impact tonight. I really didn't. But De'Aaron Fox, real quick. 37 points, man. He's a minus 20 for the game. I get it. I think this box man is stupid. He made an impact. I would say at some point, he had 20 points. And people were texting. I think it was Ty. He was like, he's being passive. And I'm like, that's a passive 20 points. That's not bad. Right? And then he just turned it on. Right? And you felt it in the fourth quarter. He felt it. He talked about that instinctually. He didn't know how to answer it, but he was like, sometimes you just feel it when your team needs it, when they need you in a certain capacity. And tonight, they needed me to score, and he did. He did. He scored. He just needed a little bit more from his teammates. You guys let me know in the comments below as well. What are people saying, man? What are people saying? Yep. Playing around the floor so well. Need more from Huerter. Murray on defense and rebounding. The Hornets almost beat Nuggets. I'm not mad at it. Daniels would be a better version of KZ and TD combined. White didn't meant to get run tonight or Holmes. We'll get into that. Yeah, Kev's been out. Do you think Mike should run more PNR with Herter and Monk or off? I mean, I think they should run a lot more pick and roll with Fox and Sabonis, for sure. And obviously, we've seen Monk run it very well. So, yeah, we saw a lot of that from Charlotte tonight. They were destroying the Kings. They had no answer for it. The Kings had their moments defensively, right, in spurts. But overall, the way they got beat, and Mike talked about it a lot. I was tweeting about it on that weak side, off those back cuts, weak side cuts. They were just a step slow. And I hate to blame it on that 6-game road trip and the jet lag and how teams typically perform after a long road trip at home. They get comfortable. They're back at home. They're eating their home-cooked meals and they're doing things. It's a day off. Damn. It looked like that today. It really did. It really did, though. I want to know if they found or if they uploaded the interviews. I have them. I have them on. They have not uploaded them. That's weird. They have not uploaded the videos today. Let me see. They have not. Okay. They have not uploaded anything today. Let me see. Let's watch them on Instagram then. Because we did turn them on, right? Not now, not ever. Let's see what they got for us today. We got the black night version of Instagram. Let's take a look at what this guy had to say. Let me see. I'm just going to share with you guys. Okay. Here we go. Can you guys hear this? Oh, I don't want to show that one yet. Foxy.
The worst team can beat the best team in the league on any given
That's
night.
true.
But just for us, you just try to go out there and you're supposed to handle business, and we didn't do that. And like I said, 55% from the free throw line, you're probably not winning the game, especially not at this level.
Yeah, De'Aaron, what do you make of the pace tonight? Not only your guys', but also how it was dealing with and controlling Charlotte's pace.
Yeah, I mean that's the way they play. They have a lot of length and a lot of athleticism, so they play to their strengths. They get up and down. Obviously their record's not good. They've had guys out, but they've been able to score the ball against most teams. So you just, you have to be able to slow those guys down. And like I said, whenever you have good shots and whenever you get to the free throw line, you have to knock those down, because they lost a game where they had like 130. So you know that team can put up points.
Last one.
Hey Darren, before the game, Coach Brown talked about how special it is to have you as a superstar being so coachable, and kind of compared the coaching player dynamic with you guys to Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan. I guess, how is it so easy to learn and want to learn from a coach like Mike Brown?
From Mike specifically,
That was interesting at the end. I guess in the pregame, that's what Mike was talking about, which was, because I wasn't there, but comparing him and I think Sabonis, but specifically him, it's his birthday tomorrow, or birthday right now, comparing him in the way of being coachable. But that's De'Aaron. I had the chance to really, have a conversation with them over the weekend at McCooney's, and he's very down to earth. And I'll go more into it on a separate show, but I can say this much. He is very down to earth, and it makes sense why he loves Sacramento. He truly does. Because he's He's very humble. For a guy that makes that much money, he's very humble. He hasn't changed much. He's still that same kid from Houston who came in from Kentucky. He's a family man. He just got married, about to have a kid in February. Probably at the All-Star break if the numbers align. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there if he makes the team and whether or not he goes to the game. But he loves Sacramento, and he's a very good person. So he's right, though. The Hornets can score. They've had injuries all year long, honestly. But that team has a lot of players that would help the Kings right now. I'm interested to see what they want to do in terms of moving forward. And if they're going to, they're in the Wemby sweepstakes right now, but how many more players, how many more picks can they get? There was a lot of comments, right, on this post. MK, GROY, the backup center played well. We could have used Holmes. Oubre was making baskets. Who's guarding? Free throws was a factor. Underestimated the Hornets, period. Make your free throws. My boy Latino Heat, 9-6. Free throws, yes, but what about Foxy minus 20 on the court again? That's why you give people ammunition to, talk and not really understand why that metric is there. He was not minus 20 tonight. Like, if you really watched the game, he was not minus 20 on the field. Like, you felt him. And, you felt his impact for sure. Bro, worst team in the league on the back-to-back. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Yeah, it's frustrating. I pretty much can't say without a doubt they struggle with big lengthy teams. The key would be who could they grab and be low post. Start on defense, could space the floor, and give Sabonis room to work down low. Something like a stretch 5. It's tough. Need more wings, but it's not easy to play a second big with Sabonis because of his, again, theoretic limitations. But Sabonis has done a great job on defense this year, believe it or not. He's been very good vertically. He's been a good, quote-unquote, rim protector, not by the metrics that you guys think, like shot block, like blocking shots, but at the rim, he's defended the rim very well this year. So, take it for what it's worth. If you've watched him play, he has been really good defensively. He has really taken that into account and really worked on that part of his game, man. Yes, free throws cost you the game. Sure wish we won the chances they win on your golden opportunity. Could get the W against our rival. It's not just free throws, but you have to find a way to get stops defensively. Also, Fox went a little bit too much ISO tonight. Should have passed to Herter for 3 when we were down in the last couple of minutes. I don't think so, honestly. I thought Herter was just awful with the free throws, and he was bad defensively, in my opinion. That play I jumped out of my seat. Herter was going to hit that. Yeah, I gotta watch it again, but I was there live. I don't think it should have. If you're talking about the last shot where he got the open 3 when they were down by 4, that's Fox's shot. That is Fox's shot. See what Mike had to say.
We didn't help the person going to help. So just a recipe to get our behinds kicked tonight, the way we played. Like I said, especially defensively. You score 119 points. That's more than enough to win an NBA game. Next thing that was disappointing was, the kid Nick Richards. He kicked our behind. He was great. He was great on the offensive glass. I'm sure it has happened, but 24 second chance points, and 72 points in the paint. That just tells you right there.
72 points in the paint.
We didn't have the physicality that we needed to have in order to win a game. So congrats to the Hornets. Out on a drive.
Okay.
We didn't help the person.
Yes, he is right about that. Let me see what the tweet was. It was Harrison Barnes will not return right quad contusion. Yes. And then obviously we saw at the half Sabonis 14, 16, and 5. That was a franchise record for most rebounds in a half. So, yes, we don't know. And we'll know tomorrow at practice, but Harrison Barnes, and it might be a game time decision. I don't know. But right quad contusions, it could be a little bit, one of those like, damn, like it hurts tonight. It hurts more on another night. It's one of those tough injuries to have. It is. So we don't know. Let's not speculate. Right quad contusion. We'll see what happens there, but that's tough. So let's get into the whole Rashawn Holmes thing and listen to his answer, because I thought it was very telling on so many levels.
That consistency with that backup center. Is there a particular reason why Rashawn Holmes hasn't gotten like a longer leash this season?
He's going to get an opportunity. He had a pretty long leash. I think he played. I don't know how many. I know
That's interesting. He did not have a long
to
leash.
start the season, and there were some things that I was looking at that I wanted to see to where I wanted to see something different there. I thought Mezzi was good to start, but again, trying to sustain the level that he was playing at. I'm not seeing it right now, and so I went to Nimi, and let me give Nimi an opportunity, and if Nimi doesn't work out, then I'll go back to another guy. So it's my decision based on what I'm seeing.
Is that practice as well?
What's that?
Is that also in practice, or are you basing this off of games?
Yes, we don't have we haven't had a contact practice in a while, so it's mainly off of games, and a couple things. We need a presence back there. That doesn't mean shot blocking presence, just somebody that's going to protect the rim with verticality. We don't need a guy fouling back there.
Ouch.
I can't think about double teaming a backup center, and I thought Marvin Bagley kind of had his way with us yesterday. I had mentioned that quick fouls. I can't have a backup center because Domas is so physical that he's going to foul at times just because how hard he plays and how physically he plays, and we can't have guys leading with their hands. Like if somebody drives, leading with your hand, and boop, whistle, and a minute later, boop, whistle. You can't get 3-4 fouls in a matter of 2-3 minutes from your backup five. And then our pick and roll coverage has to be better because Rashawn and Mezzi aren't big, and so they have to be on point defensively when it comes to the pick and roll game. And those are things I'm looking for. And then both those guys, somebody's got to put pressure on the rim. We got to get a guy that's going to roll and put pressure on the rim as a vertical threat. And even if he doesn't get it, it's hard, which is hard, is to roll 8 out of 10 times, because when you roll, if you don't get it, that means either the weak side's pulling in like we wanted to, or the big is with them, which means that there's an opportunity for guys to get to the rim and finish, and or throw the lob, or if a guy's tagging in, spray the ball for a three. So there are some things, like I said, that I'm looking for that I haven't gotten consistent. Well, I felt I haven't gotten consistently at that backup center spot. And so in the meantime, I'm gonna keep searching.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Jeez, that was a lot to unpack there. But if you read between the lines there, oof. I'm just gonna come out and say it. He don't want to play him, because if you take everything literally of how he phrased it, it feels like he's saying Rashawn fouls too much. He's not good in the pick and roll. He's not protecting the rim, whether that be shot blocking or just staying vertical, because he puts his hands out like this, right? That is interesting. Wow. And then Max Terps on Instagram says, please give me your thoughts on his answer and what you truly think we'll see from Holmes till the All-Star break. Do we trade him? Does he carve out a role or sit on the bench? I personally am a Holmes fan. The passion he shows when engaged and getting the support of the coaches is amazing. Definitely a quality big, NBA big. I hope he makes a rotation, plays well, and we package him in the move. Thoughts? So, the first thing is he said that he's had a long leash. He's played over 100 minutes. Tyson said that he played 84 minutes through October 1st, which was roughly about 6 games, okay? Because then if you think about it, all the other games have been in garbage time, right? If the Kings are either getting blown out or they're blowing somebody out, which they've blown out a lot of teams this year. And they've played him with other big men like Alex Len. So take that for what it's worth. So I knew when he said that he played over 100 minutes, I knew that was cap. So that's not accurate whatsoever. There's no way he did. So six games through October 31st, roughly about 15 minutes a game, 84 minutes. I agree. He was awful defensively. There's no other way of sugarcoating that because that's what he was. He was bad defensively. And he was bad offensively. I feel like for a guy that was top 10 in shot blocking 2 years ago, very good weak side shot blocker, he just forgets how to play defense. There has to be more to it. I always talk about rhythm and timing. Harrison Barnes and Domantas Sabonis were awful in the first 4 games too. People were calling for their next. I don't know if y'all remember that, but and obviously I'm not comparing them to those two guys. Those two guys are so huge and arguably the best player, second best player with like the third or fourth best player. So, but Rashawn Holmes though, one could argue that he was the third best player when he was at his best. Like it's not. That's just more on the Kings having a bad roster. But Rashawn Holmes is a good basketball player. Rashawn Holmes is an NBA player. And when he was averaging 14-9 and leading the league in field goal percentage, a little push shot out there, he has a touch from there. And he's a very good roller and a lob threat. That's why I'm so confused on why he hasn't played. I understand that if he fouls too much, that's a liability defensively. I get that. But when you watch Mezzi play at the center spot defensively, because offensively he's pretty solid, but defensively, he's just bad. He's small. He gets pushed around. I didn't see a lot of that, and I agree that Rashawn does foul a lot, but if we want to keep it 100, the reason why he fouls a lot too, at least previously speaking, especially on this roster, when De'Aaron Fox is not engaged, when Buddy Hield is not, Buddy Hield all the time, but when Bogey all the time pretty much. And it's not a matter of Buddy not trying, because we've always he always tries hard, but athletically it's hard for him to stay in front of the other best shooting guard, because Luke would make him guard like good players. Obviously he's playing the 2 guard, so he has to guard players, right? Anytime you get beat on the perimeter, it's making your big man's life very, very difficult. And then on top of that, you add a Marvin Bagley to potentially help him and rotate on the rotate. So if Rashawn rotates, when you get beat, he steps up. And guess who has to cover his man? Marvin Bagley. And guess what happens there? he comes back into the frame to try and block the shot, and he gets a foul call because Bagley can't guard his own shadow. So that was tough. And talking about Bagley, he mentions Marvin Bagley as the backup center, which he is in Detroit, and then he throws indirect shade by saying, we almost threw a double team. That's how I took it, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. That's how I took it, at least. That he wanted to double the backup center. So he threw massive shade at Rashawn there. And you're just like, damn, that hurt. That hurt. That hurt me. There's a lot more to unpack. I gotta make its own video, man. I gotta make its own video on that. And what this also tells me is that they're gonna give Nimi another shot. That he's gonna give him a few games to work it out. I don't think he's ready. I like Nimi as a person. Obviously, being a Portugal descent, first Portuguese player ever. That's awesome. But damn, I don't think he's ready, man. And tonight was one of those again. They talked about Embiid. I would, give him the benefit of the doubt. But tonight, you going up against Mason Plum, no disrespect. You going up against Nick Richards, no disrespect. They're not Joel Embiid. He still looked bad. And that's when the Hornets went on the run, when they put Sabonis on the bench. So I don't want to hear that. Like, I don't want to hear that, man. What are people saying? Let me see. People. Leo, what advice you give Holmes since he's currently out of the rotation? So now, kind of going over what Coach said, the advice is just stay ready. And now that he publicly put it on display, he wants you to foul less. So try and foul less. Keep your hands up. Just move your feet because you're very quick for your size. You've always been that. And just be yourself. Roll 8 out of 10 times, which you pretty much do. And just stay out of foul trouble. So that's the advice. Let's go over these. If HB is out, we need KZ. Okay. We call that a quirky here in Australia. Because I like how Coach Brown mentioned Marvin Bagley. Yeah, you really put Coach Brown to the test. I feel like Coach Brown is really looking for something else in the 4 position than what Holmes offers, or even at center. Well, Holmes is not a 4. He's looking for a backup 5 is what he's trying to say, because he's playing TD off the bench, Malik and Davion. So more of a 3-guard lineup there off the bench. And then he plays Trey Lyles at the 4, along with whoever the backup 5 is. And tonight it was Nimi. Because remember, as you were saying, he wants someone with very similar differences. Not really. What Coach Brown is saying is that he wants a vertical lob threat, which Shemezi is, Holmes is, Len isn't, Lyles isn't. Nimi, in theory, he is, but he's not because he's not very mobile. So I don't know. You go and you get Nerlens Noel, and I feel like Holmes is a better player. That's just me, though. Bagley is terrible. Yeah, Bagley is terrible, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. Bagley did blow him up twice for layups, to be fair. James says, basically, Brown is politely saying Holmes is a bum. I mean, he's wrong, by the way. I don't agree with what he said, because a lot of it, again, the Kings are playing bad in the first 5-6 games, right? He didn't get a long leash. That's all. Here between the lines, it's not what he's looking for. Right. And that's probably what the best thing Bass has said. He's not what he's looking for. At least not right now. Mike Brown was very articulate in his response, and it should be seen as a statement of the Kings needing to make a trade. That comes from David Flores. Rashawn needs to be traded ASAP. Brown threw his player under the bus. But even though Holmes fouls a lot, that's the stuff the coaching staff can correct. That's the stuff that he could verbalize to Rashawn. So I don't think that's something that he has talked about with Rashawn, which would be disappointing. And then for him to say what he's looking for publicly, but not behind closed doors, I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I mean? They have talked about the vertical threat, who can protect and rim rum. John Collins is available. We already owe the Hawks a protected 24. Change it to an unprotected 24-25. See, I'm not a fan of John Collins, David. I'll be honest with you. For $25 million, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, tell me what he does at an elite level. I just want to know what you think, because I'm not a big John Collins fan. I'm just not. I think he's a guy that doesn't impact winning. I think he's a guy that is a glorified dunker to some extent. Like, he's a super athlete, but at $25 million, I need more from him. He's not the defender that people, or I don't know if you think he's a good defender. I don't know if he's perceived to be a good defender. I've heard things like that on social media. I don't think he's that. I'm just not a huge fan of John Collins. And if it's going to take me an arm and a leg, I'm definitely not doing it. To me, John Collins is worth about $15 million, give or take. I think that's fair. But at $25 million, I'm not doing that, brother. He's not a 5. You're going to have similar things to Shemezi Meta, where he's super athletic. He's a great rim roller. Like, he'll be fine offensively. But defensively, who is he going to guard? Who is he going to guard? He's going to get destroyed. I don't think McNair just wants to trade him for just a second-round pick either. Hawks are in the dire need of a center to back up Capella. Holmes fits that mold. Holmes fits the mold here too, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're trying to look for a replacement that has Holmes' skill sets, in theory, and he's on your bench. It doesn't make any sense to me. Remember when you said Tyrese was going to be a future superstar in this league during his rookie year and how much you loved him? I think I said that maybe once. It was after a huge game, and I had my guy Henry, who works for FanDuel now, not understanding all of his major weaknesses, which till this day he still has. I think I think he's a hell of a basketball player, right? He's not a superstar, though. So some people might say, oh, I was right. And I'll be honest with you, from that statement alone, if I just take that as a statement with no context, I was wrong, because I don't think he's a future superstar. I don't think he's a superstar. But there has to be more context to how I said that. Like, in what, I mean, that's like, if I said that, I was wrong, because he's not better than LaMelo Ball. I'm sorry. LaMelo Ball, again, I understand he gets the label of he don't play hard, he don't care, he cares about the off the court stuff, yada yada yada. On the court, man, he's just different. Like, Tyrese is a very good transition passer. In the half court, He's not a better passer than LaMelo Ball, bro. LaMelo is just different. Like, he can turn it on, one-on-one, get to whatever spot he needs to get to. Has a handle on the string. I mean, this dude got handles. Tyrese can't go, like, sit on Tyrese's left hand, and good things will happen. I don't know why teams have not figured that out. He plays against the Kings and he struggles. Why? Because they know his weaknesses. Ah, man. If I said if he was a superstar, I'm wrong. And then the vast majority of the nation is gonna say I was right. And I disagree with my statement. I disagree with it. I'm sorry. He's been traded. You consistently throw shots at him, like today with LaMelo Ball coming on Instagram. What was your issue with Tyrese Halliburton? I have no issues. I think he's a fabulous basketball player. Tyrese plays the right way. He's just extremely overrated, and he gets too much credit for a player that people make it seem like he's literally like this superstar, and he's not. He's a guy that's still extremely passive, that's going to have those games that he had earlier in the year where he had 1 point. He's beloved. I get it. Great smile, great personality. He's infectious. I understand that. But I want to see him do it for an entire season, and I want to see him win more ball games. Right now they're playing well. I get it. I mean, not super well, but you get the point. They're playing better than expected for sure. And I still believe when it hits February, either the beginning or mid, they're gonna be in the Wemby sweepstakes, brother. Like, the team's not that good. They're probably gonna trade Miles Turner, which is gonna change the complexion of the team. They'll probably trade Buddy. They don't have to, but they probably should, right? Headphones hurt my ears. But I have no issues with them. I have issues with JJ Redick always trying to overrate him and throw shade at Sabonis and throw shade at Fox when Sabonis is a lock. He's a lock. He's a lock to make the All-Star game. And unfortunately for Fox, he don't play in the East where the guard position is not very good right now. And he has to go up against, Luka, Steph, Damian, John Morant. Hey, those are 4 dudes that are locks from popularity, from level of talent. Tyrese is not going up against that in the East. And then we have Wally Zerbiak today. That's disrespectful. He said the wannabe All-Star. He's probably going to make the All-Star game because he's better than Brunson. I like Brunson, but Tyrese is better than Brunson. Come on. I get Wally works for the Knicks, but that's an awful take. Again, I love Tyrese. I just think he's extremely overrated right now by the national media and just on social media. People see, 10 assists a game. Okay, cool. At the end of the day, he's not a guy that I can give the ball to, go give me a bucket at any point. Like, he's not that guy. LaMelo's that guy. Fox is that guy. That's why I personally have him ranked underneath those 2 type of guys. But that's just me, though. Tyrese is special. See, like, everybody else is going to be saying things like that. Like, again, just sit on his left hand, bro. Sit on his left hand. I'm going to put on the clinic. King straight for Collins solves a lot of their issues immediately. Wings and bigs depth provides a vertical. So kind of go, well, how about this? David, can you call in and just kind of explain your take on Collins and how he solved issues? Because I'm curious to see how he solved the issues. Because I don't think he does. Like, I don't think he does. LaMelo's really fun to watch. He is extremely fun. Oh, come on. Robert Pinsari Basketball says Tyrese LaMelo. Come on, bro. Stop. If LaMelo wasn't as injured as he's been, freak accidents too, by the way. This dude twisted his ankle running up against a lady courtside. Like, that was unfortunate. But stop the cap. Just watch a game and put them side to side and tell me who's a better half-court passer. Where does Tyrese get most of his assists? In transition, okay? Because his head's always up. He's always looking forward. Like that. Bro, I watch Tyrese religiously. I watch Tyrese. If anyone knows Tyrese's game, it's me. I know Tyrese's game. It's not as good as everybody says it is. It really isn't. It truly isn't. Who is a buy low candidate? LaMelo is better, yes. LaMelo is the best ball brother by a long shot. Alonzo doesn't stand a chance against LaMelo. Alonzo is a good defender before all his injuries. Alonzo is an exceptional passer as well. I love Lonzo Ball. I love Lonzo Ball. I love Caruso on the Kings. I love Caruso on the Kings too, bro. I would love that. Fun fact, Sabonis plugged line numbers is 6.5. That's a great fun fact, okay? Again, people after the trade thought the Kings got fleeced, but you get at the time a 25-year-old, now he's 26, but a 26-year-old two-time All-Star, going to be a three-time All-Star this year. I don't think they got fleeced, and I said that right the seconds after it happened. Sabonis is really good. Sabonis is really good. No excuses, Leo. Win games, and he will make it. Top 10 offensive box minus. Steph, Luka, Jokic, Lillard, Mitchell, Davis, Embiid, Halliburton, Durant. Let's check what Let's check the strength of schedule, right? And what their record is. What the hell standings? The Indiana Pacers right now are 15-16, okay? They're 3-7 in the last 10. And his plus box minus is that good. So out of those players that you just named, you got Steph. There's Steph in his category. Steph gets a pass. Okay, this is top 10 player ever. Luka is arguably the best offensive player in the world. Jokic is the best center in the world. Lillard is second best. Lillard said this. I should be in discussion as the second best shooter ever behind Steph, which I agree with him. By the way, the numbers may not, or the stats may not say that in terms of percentages, but the man is just a bucket. Like, if Steph didn't exist, we'd be saying Lillard is that guy. Donovan Mitchell is superior to Halliburton. Anthony Davis is a monster when he's healthy, which is never the case. Embiid is just the most dominant center in basketball. He's a better two-way player than Jokic, but Jokic is the best center. KD, obviously, top 12 player ever. And Halliburton, when they make these lists of, which player shocks you to be in this list? It's obviously Halliburton. And then they'll be like, which player doesn't belong in this list? It's definitely Halliburton. He don't belong in this list. And that's why if you use these analytics, these stats, you compare them with what we see on film, they don't match up because he's not that guy. He truly isn't that type of a player. He's an analytical darling. I get it. but he's not that guy. I'm sorry. He's not that guy. I'm hating because I don't agree. Like, come on, bro. They literally give it to Mathurin when they need a bucket. Tyrese has no one-on-one bag. Tyrese is good at creating three-point shots. No. Jones and Halliburton both suck. LOL. 4 years is a big gap, man. Max contract, rookie skill contract. Wins for the max player, loses the next rookie player. Whoever doesn't like Sabonis doesn't know ball. If Fox ups the scoring, the Kings will make it. Have like a 30% career record or wins and losses. Sabonis is not a good defender. See, you would think that like that was a perception going into the season, but if you look at who's defended the rim the best, Sabonis is like in the top. At one point, he was like top 3. Right now, he's probably like top 6. Like, Sabonis has been so good at the rim this season without having to block the shots, just on verticalities alone, like staying vertical. He's just such a smart player, and very few players, as Mike Brown says, and he said a lot, and he has said that a lot this year, is his ability just to run and play hard and have that type of endurance. To again, the Kings suffer when he goes to the bench, right? And they're awful because, again, for me, they don't play home. So when they play Mezzi or they play at this juncture Nemias or Alexa hasn't played, but like there's such a gap between Sabonis and whoever else plays for him that the Kings defense just struggles. And as a matter of fact, let me bring this up for y'all, okay? And this is specifically for James. They sent me this earlier in the day. And I want to bring this up, okay? Oh, I can't do that. Let me see. How do I put this up there? Okay. I want to retweet it for him, okay? So let's look at this. And this is for James specifically. And just to prove a point that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Best lineups in the NBA this season. What stands out to you? It's funny I just said that. Okay, 2022 best NBA lineups, minimum 200 minutes played. Who's on this list, brother? I can't even highlight this, huh? Who's number 3 with a net rating of 11.5, James? Who is it, brother? Right here. Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, Sabonis. Look at that. Look at that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yes, if you watch Moneyball, Tyrese is like yes, I agree with that, Rob. No, Sabonis for the first time, and I hate to admit this, but he's a good defender. The Kings are not plus 11.5, and a top. I don't know what they came. I think 15th today on defense. Without Sabonis being decent, bro. Like, there's just no way. His wingspan, lateral quickness make him a schematic mismatch in the postseason better. You ask, who's number 2? Shit. Mitchell Robinson has a lot to do with that. This is a perfect storm of the Kings taking their opponents lightly and lose to the opponents desperately needing to win. Right. And this happens to most teams when you come off of long road trips. The first game back, and this is proven, they're jet lagged, and the attention to detail is just not there. Trae Young is trash on defense. But let's not compare Trae Young to Sabonis, though. Come on. Why are you doing this, bro? Okay. Let me see. I'll show you. Where the hell are these numbers at, bro? Okay. Hey Tyson, look up Sabonis's at the rim numbers from Will Stats for me, please. Dude, Reddish is trash. Stop. Jesus. I can't find it. I can't find it. Let me see. They're out here goofing off, bro. Hello, stop with your fetish with Reddish. That rhymes. James says that I get too emotional. I'm not gonna say this name, but I mean, I'm not gonna correct them about it. To me, James saying that I already he's admitting to me that I'm right about mostly everything that I say. I mean, that's what that means to me. I don't see things as black and white. Actually, it's the complete opposite. I see things as there's too much gray in between there. And James doesn't watch enough basketball to truly understand that. So I'm going to give him a pass. And if you watch DeMar play, and if you watched him play last year, you would understand that in this system, the Kings don't run the 24-hour fitness basketball that the Raptors do, okay? This is a split-cut action. The same system that the Warriors ran for all these years and still do. If you put DeMar in a better position to succeed and not have the ball as much as he's had, he's going to be a much better basketball player. Obviously, that requires him to buy in to what Mike Brown is saying. I don't see why he wouldn't buy into what Mike has said. This guy has been there, done that. There's nothing he hasn't done as a coach. Think about it. Finals with the Cavs. He has coached everybody, I feel like. Literally. LeBron, Kobe, Tim, obviously being an assistant coach for the Spurs and Pop. And he literally talked about how coachable, obviously, have that with a grain of salt, but De'Aaron Fox tonight, how coachable Fox is, and he compared him to Tim Duncan and Manu and Tony Parker, and the ability for him to be coached. What I'm trying to say is that Mike Brown has been there, done that. Like, there's nothing that man hasn't seen. He knows what he's talking about, bro. I mean, this dude is a fountain of basketball knowledge, of basketball experience. And he really learned how to finally run an efficient offense, something that he struggled with in his tenure with the Golden State Warriors. I'm not twisting anybody's points, honestly. If you watch the video, I specifically talked about how the Kings would replace Harrison Barnes with yours truly, your favorite player, DeMar DeRozan, right? And how they would use him in that way. Now, if DD comes here and he wants the ball in his hands at all times and he wants it to be about him, run a 5 out all the time, that's not going to work here because that's not what they do. There's a difference between Fox, and again, I tell this people all the time, Fox can go get you 30 points every night. He truly can. Like, he can average 30 points a game. But Fox plays within the flow of the offense. That's the major difference between Fox this year and Fox the first 5 years. That matters. De'Aaron is that guy offensively. Not only do the analytics back it up, but the eye test backs it up too. He scores on all 3 levels. We haven't been able to say that the first 5 years about De'Aaron Fox. I've told you guys he was that guy, and I'm glad he's finally proving me right. But context matters here. And if you want to talk about, DD on the Raptors, the times he choked in the playoffs, like, DeRozan would be the 3rd best player on his team. If DeRozan is your 3rd best player, that's a pretty good basketball team. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So when you say you can't argue against me all you want. I'll listen to you. I'm just going to prove you wrong. With analytics and with the film. And if you watch that video closely, that's all I showed. That's literally all I showed. That's really all I did. That's literally all I did. Let me see. Let me pull this up for you, bro. Okay. I'm gonna find this Sabonis stuff just for you, okay? And Mike Brown talked about this earlier. Actually, let's hear Mike Brown talk about that, right? Let me see who has it. I think Brandon has it. I think I saw Brandon have it. Talking about his media. Okay. Not that one. Here we go.
Adamant and that Domas should be an all-star and his name's coming up in other conversations.
No question about it. Zero question. If you don't vote for him to be an all-star, in my opinion, you don't know basketball. Because what he's doing it's almost on a historic level. And I'm not just talking about his ability to score, his ability to pass. I mean, he's doing everything. He's rebounding. He's passing. He's scoring. He's creating mismatch problems for teams. Teams have to chase us a little bit when he's on
Look
the
at
floor.
that, James.
That doesn't show up in a box score.
Thank you, James.
Go back to certain guys just because Domas goes back on the floor. He is doing a fantastic job. At one point, he was protecting the rim, I think, better than anybody.
Oh.
And for sure in the top 3.
Did I just say that?
Everybody says, he's not that athletic. He's not that long. He's not a shot blocker. He's smart. He's strong. He knows how to use his body and go vertical. He does his work early. He communicates on the backside.
he better be an all-star,
How
as
unique-
well as Foxy.
How unique are those DHOs? I don't even know if that's the right term, but he pushes it back and kind of readjusts the screen.
It's really unique. When you think of bigs around the league that can handle the ball the way he handles the ball and play makes, especially in a dribble handoff.
Well, the Raptors saw that firsthand. James, you saw that firsthand a few nights ago of what Sabonis is all about. So that's my point, bro. Like, you don't watch enough to understand that. And again, I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't see that from him this year. There's no way. I thought he'd be this good defensively. But Sabonis has been really good defensively. Okay? Mike doesn't talk out of his ass like that, bro. Trust me. Mike holds everybody accountable. Everybody. This is a guy that says, I expect Fox. Like, sometimes he don't even want to praise Fox. He'd be like, yeah, like, I expect him to get 30 tonight. And then he talks about the other things that make him special. That's what makes Mike Brown very good, bro. So, that didn't come from me. That came from Mike Brown. Out of all the Kings picks last 15 years, which players were you most surprised struggle in the NBA? And is there any past Kings player you would take right now for this current Kings team? So, I knew the Thomas Robinson was a bust as soon as I watched him play. Like, just the worst hand I've ever seen in basketball. I did not like him at Kansas. Jimmer, obviously, I felt like a little bit too early before the big renaissance happened in basketball. I think he'd be a nice bench piece if, we could do it all over again with him. Obviously, he don't play no defense, but, he'd be a solid, 8th, 9th type of guy. Because of his shooting, obviously. Quincy Doobie was trash, but even though he's had a great year, a great career overseas. Who was the Kings player they took? Sauce Castillo was trash. I think he's on the roster. I don't know if he's on the roster right now. Who else they draft? Jason Thompson, obviously, just wasn't that good. That was my boy, but he wasn't that good. Dante Green wasn't that good. DeMarcus Cousins, injuries happened. Obviously, that's a no. I'm not going there. Tyreek. I would say Tyreek Evans right now. He could still help you offensively. I don't know where his body's at. Obviously, he went to the whole drug stuff. I don't know where he's at, but maybe Tyreek. That's a good question. I don't know. Call in, though. Call in, and I want to know your take on why John Collins would be a difference maker, because I don't see it, but I'm willing to listen to it, though. DeRozan would be good on the Kings. I can't hear the vocal. You can't hear the vocal? What you mean? Sabonis has crafted deep defensive. His defensive metrics is 90th percentile. Leo, stop with your BS. I never was critical of Sabonis' offense. I actually argued against DeMar because I like Sabonis with the ball better. James, you just heard the head coach of the Sacramento Kings talk about his defense, though. That's not coming from me, bro. That's coming from the coach. That's coming from the stats. I just can't find it. Let's see. Let me see. I'll find it for you. Damn it. Let me see where it's at. I'll look for it for right now. Yeah, I can't find that. Let me see. I'm trying to look through all my stuff. Kevin Herter. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that for you, buddy. But Sabonis has been very good out the rim. Like his defense has been a pleasant surprise this year, for sure. 100%. 100% has been very good. Simbular, I guess Simbular was fighting with Dwight Howard today. That was wild. They weren't like fist fighting, but they were like pushing each other and all that stuff. What is going to make this team a championship contender? A guy like DeMar DeRozan, a third type of like scorer. A guy like OG, Siakam. Those types of guys. The West is wide open, y'all. Like it really is. What you do? Rashawn Holmes, Mentor Turner, Davis second, Mason Plumlee, and B.J. Washington. Duh, but they not doing that. You see, that's the perceived no. And trust me, I was saying the exact same thing you were saying, James. Like literally, I'm like, yeah, Sabonis. You know, if teams put him in a pick and roll, but he has really improved this year. And again, pleasant surprise. It's wild to me. Like he has done a very good job in the pick and roll, at the rim. I'm laughing because I was saying the exact same things you were, but if you actually watch, which you don't, because you were saying this stuff I was saying before, you would know that that's not true. And that's why when the Kings go to the bench and they put him on the bench, they suffer tremendously because now they lose the one big man that can do those things well enough now. So my only suggestion, recommendation for you is to actually watch, brother. Watch a full game and just watch him. Don't watch anybody else. Just watch him and watch how he communicates, how he grabs his boards, how he does his work so early. And you'll understand why he's improved so much. Like, it's crazy to me. Monty's going to do a big try to fill it. I did talk about Keita. I thought he was awful tonight. He's going to trade Barnes and Holmes bet. Name me a better center outside of Bam that keeps players in front of him, James. I'll be a Kings fan again if we get Durant. Oh, KD, man. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned him too. If you get KD, you're a championship contender. But then what would it take to get him? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You dismantle the team at that point. Would you have to give up Mitchell, Barnes, and Holmes to get DeMar? For sure. I think their backup big needs more minutes, so I'm sure they'll give Plumlee. They'll let Plumlee go. It's not that trade is more about PJ than it is about Plumlee, which I would love Plumlee either way. Though I'm a big Plumlee fan. You know what I mean? I'm a big Plumlee fan for sure. I need somebody to look up Sabonis' at the rim defense, bro. Please. But yes, if y'all want to call in right now, I would love to talk to you guys and get this conversation going, yo. What would it take to get Siakam, though? A lot. It would take so much that I would rather go after OG. I'd rather go after OG regardless over Siakam, but I don't know. 3 first-round picks probably. I don't want to give that much for him, but that's really what it would take, though. I don't ever change my opinions, like ever. James, just call in, bro. Just call in. Trust me. Why are you not acknowledging what Mike Brown said, though? I don't get it. I don't get why you're not acknowledging that. It's as if you think that I'm making this shit up, but I'm not. This came from the head of the snake. Like, don't worry. Raptors gonna tank soon. And we're playing for this year or the long run. How many picks would it take to get Siakam, Robert? I think OG is more costly than Siakam because he is not tradable for Masai. Well, I wouldn't say that. I would argue that Masai probably, I don't even know who he likes better, to be honest. I don't think anybody knows, but I know Siakam's value is higher than OG's, even though I would take OG over Siakam. That's me, though. That's my opinion. But they get Terrence Davis, TD for PJ, not incredibly different in production, really. Bro, they're not trading that. Like, the Kings have to give a first-round pick, and right now they don't have any to trade in 23 because of the Herter trade. So right now they got to call Atlanta and be like, let me give you a 2025 pick right now and remove the protections. That happens. Then you're able to give up a 2023. But until that happens, no can do, brother. Like, you can't give up those picks because of the Stepien rule. Because right now, it's perceived as a 2024, which I told everybody the moment that Kevin Huerter trade happened that it would remove the Kings from going after a third guy to play with Fox and Sabonis. Because that, again, no regrets in terms of the player because Kevin's been amazing for the Kings. But, unless Atlanta budges, you can't give up a 2023 pick right now. That's just the reality of the situation. I appreciate you, Nick. I appreciate you. That's what I mean, Leo. They don't have the assets to take the punt on Reddish. Bobby Webster. Uh-oh. Bobby Webster's in the green room, baby. Let's do this. Let me see. Let's do this, Rob.
What's going on, man?
What's up, big dog? God, it's like 4:20 over there.
It is. Yeah, I've got an editing assignment that I got to finish, and I'm just procrastinating. And I've got your chat on in the back, and I'm trying to figure this thing out. But
all right,
yeah,
you're Bobby Webster. We did this.
Well, you showed up as Fred VanVleet to our chat, so I got to show up as Bobby Webster to your chat. I mean, I could have shown up as De'Aaron Fox, but no one's gonna buy that shit. So
that's true. I kind of look like Fred, so
yeah.
I don't play like him, but I kind of look like him.
Oh, you can throw those passes, eh? That's nice.
No, I can shoot the ball too, like him. So obviously, I watched like 20 minutes of the live stream that you did earlier today, and the Raptors, and how they lost and how they came back, and Scotty.
Yeah, my mic wasn't working for the first 15 minutes, so I don't know what to do about that.
I
hope
thought
I had
about.
laptop audio for the first 15
I was
minutes.
gonna
But
ask you. I thought it was a little bit different.
it was.
Yeah.
But luckily it wasn't inaudible, but yeah, it
Yeah.
got really different after the 15 minutes. But yeah, man, it was like a really weird game. But nevertheless, we're here to
It
talk
was.
Kings. What up?
Yes. We did an exercise on I think 2 shows ago about, and I forgot to clip it and just post it on here, but let's do it again. I'm Monty, and you are
We're doing the
Masai.
same trade again?
Well, do you kind of want to mention it to people of what that trade was? Because people thought.
But it's going to be disingenuous because we had to negotiate our way down to what we got
true.
to. And I mean,
That's
like,
true.
okay, so what I'll do is I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm no longer shopping OG Anunoby, but there's a bunch of other great pieces that you can have off this team, because we are on the verge of a serious losing streak. I mean, we're at 6 straight right now. We got New York coming up next. If we don't win that game, we're
You'll
not
beat
winning
the
another
Knicks.
game until New Year's.
That's true.
So, like, straight up, we're gonna be like 12 games under 500, and at that point, you just pull the plug because you're basically done, right? So yeah, so there's gonna be a couple of spicy names available for the Kings to bolster that world-class defense anchored by Domantas Sabonis.
No, but again, to James's point, I came in with the same thing he was saying. Like, if you haven't watched them play, you would still have the same notions. And I was just
I have watched him play. I know he's a good defender.
Like, he
I
has.
don't think he's a great defender because I think great defenders can't be schemed for. Like for me, OG Anunoby
That's
is a
fair.
great defender. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you can't put OG Anunoby like you can't put like so like for instance, like I think versatility is a really big thing in the NBA, right?
Right.
I don't know who your most versatile defender is off the top of my head. Who would you say it would be? Harrison Barnes?
Real
No,
quick,
he's not.
I think I used the word great loosely sometimes. And I think you like correct me a lot on that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is he's better than what we all thought he was going into the year.
Defensive, the crafted defensive plus minus model has been a 90th percentile. That's a very, very good defender. Miles Turner, for context, is
Right.
95th, right? Like, big men tend to be boosted by that stat typically, especially if you play near
Right.
the rim. But this is my
Right.
point. You scheme around it, right? Like, your defense is funneling guys to him, but your defense is not designed for him to go out and guard point guards, right?
Great.
Like, your defense isn't treating him like we treat Precious Achua.
No.
So that's why I say, like, sometimes people look at numbers and they're just like, yeah, but scheme hides numbers sometimes and scheme alters numbers. But, like, I told you between Trey and Luka, there's a big difference. And the difference is inches and pounds, right?
Yes.
Right? So they're both pylons. If you put them on an island and you ask either one of them to go left, right, and stay with, like, a quick guy like Kyrie, they're both getting
But
dusted.
it's easier to hide a 6'8" guy.
Exactly, because
100%.
he's bigger and he takes more space, and you can always hide him in the post you could always hide him on your weakest guy. But with Trey Young, there's no one you can hide him on, and that's kind of where I see like Sabonis, right? If I'm a team, like say I'm the Golden State Warriors playing against you guys, right? Now I might go really small. I might put Jonathan Kuminga at center.
Right.
Right now, obviously on the other end, probably gonna get killed by Sabonis in the paint, but it's a trade-off, and I feel like you guys lose that matchup if another team decides to go really small, but they actually have one of those guys who can still sort of defend the post. Like, you guys could be in trouble. Is what I'm saying. If you face the Boston Celtics, you're fucked. I mean, everyone is, but like,
yeah. I mean, they got destroyed by the Celtics. To be fair, how many first-round picks do you think it'll take to get Siakam? In your opinion?
4.
I mean, that's what Kevin O'Connor said, but he's not getting 4. So,
no, but I mean, he is, because I mean, in all reality, you're talking about a guy with a year and a half on his contract still, right? And I mean, look at the comparables. Is he not a better player than Rudy Gobert? Come on, like, I mean,
100%.
I'm not going to use that as the only market precedence, but I mean, you're talking at least 4 draft picks, a couple of young assets, and maybe like a couple of swaps. Like the asking price will be insane, but basketball is the one sport where I say one guy does shift it. He can absolutely shift it for you. But like in baseball or a football, one guy isn't changing everything for you. You have to do a lot around it because there's so many more guys, right? In basketball, it's only 5 guys. One guy can make a huge difference. I really believe that.
I just don't see anyone that's going to give up by this year's deadline 4 picks. I think maybe in the summer.
You will be surprised. Because there's like, I brought this up in the live that we did for Consider Basketball. There's like 2 types of teams that are underachieving and overachieving. And I don't know which is going to get more desperate, but teams that are underachieving could also be really desperate, right? Like the Chicago Bulls, probably Miami Heat. These teams probably expected to be 8th, right? The Golden State Warriors, this whole James Wiseman thing's not working out for them, right? They have future picks, right? I'm pretty sure they have young assets, and I think they have a few future picks. Could they get really desperate to get some reinforcements now that Wiseman's not working out?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Would Precious be a huge upgrade for them? Like, would they give up a couple picks? You know what I mean? Like, so I look at teams like you guys, like the Sacramento Kings, who are achieving this modicum of success for the first time in 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that team, and I'm like, that's ripe for the picking, because they have a fan base that needs this to work out. You guys can't go on a 5-game losing streak. You're never going to build that momentum back. You can't fall out of the playoffs. You can't fall into the play-in and then lose. Like, you need a top 6, in my opinion. Or you need to bolster your roster so you absolutely are sure that you're getting out of play-in. I mean, you see the teams in the play-in right now?
Mm-hmm. Let's actually look at them.
Project it out. Like, I mean, if the Clippers end up in the play-in, do you trust this Sacramento team to beat Kawhi and PG in a do-or-die 1 game? I don't.
Nope.
Exactly.
I don't.
That's my point. So it's like, how heartbreaking would it be for?
I think the Kings are the 7th best team in the West if everybody's healthy. Which again,
I think that's fair.
That's a big if, right? Because the Clippers are never healthy, for one.
They might be healthy at the exact time you don't want them to be healthy, though. In fairness,
that's
right?
the problem.
And exactly.
That's a problem. Let me see. The
let's
Nuggets.
not pretend like Fox has had a completely clean bill of health. He has not also
That's true.
His injury history too.
The Denver Nuggets, for the most part, are not always healthy, but they are a better team. The Grizzlies are a better team. The Suns are a better team. The Pelicans are a better team, and the Clippers are a better team. And I think the Warriors, if healthy, are a better team without question. But talking about health, Steph Curry's out. So how many games? I mean, they beat the Raptors, but how many games can they stay alive, or do they have to make a trade with him out? Like, these are all fascinating questions.
They're 4-1 without him. They're 1-4 without him. They were 0-4 until they beat the hapless Toronto Raptors.
And they're on the outside looking in. They're in 11th place right now. They're 15 and 16.
Let's be real. They're not going to finish there, right? So
they're not. But that also depends if Curry's gonna, like, how long is this gonna take for him? Because he is everything for the Warriors.
Like, where are you on Portland right now? You think Portland's behind you guys? I mean, they sustained a period of time without Dame, right?
Yeah, I think the Kings are a better team just because they have more depth, and the Blazers don't have anyone outside of the starting 5 that really scares anybody. So I think depth's gonna matter with the 82-game season.
I think once you see Gary Payton II come back for them, I think they're going to.
That's going to be a big jump.
I think that guy
really
changes everything for them. Also, just because of how he fits into that roster, right?
I forgot about him, but
he's awesome.
That's one guy.
Yeah,
I still think they're better. I think they're better than Minnesota. I think they're better than Utah, which I think Utah eventually trades some of their veterans, which we saw tonight that the Hornets at 8-23 are officially in the Wemby sweepstakes, and they have a ton of guys that would help this Kings roster.
Dude, the Kings were the final leg of 3 of my parlays tonight.
Fuck.
Kings over the Charlotte Hornets, and I was just like, I have this idea that I never want to bet on the Kings because I don't trust them. But then the one time I bet against them, I got burned. So I was like, you know what? It's worked with me with the Magic. I bet against the Magic once with the LA Clippers, and it burned me. So then I bet on the Magic 5 straight, and they won 5 straight. So I was like, great.
That's crazy.
But this is crazy to lose to the Charlotte freaking Hornets.
Yeah. I mean, they've been banged up all year, and Scary Terry didn't play tonight, but this is Gordon's second game back. And I'm a big Hayward fan, but he's always injured. I think he's a good basketball player.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Honestly,
you feel about him.
I'm rooting for all these teams, like all these teams at the bottom. I'm just rooting for them to rise up, and let us just keep falling down. Because honestly,
Not
like
going
I
fall
am all
back.
for this, bro. Like honestly, the Scotty Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, this is like
Oof, I'm
Magic
scared.
Johnson, Kareem all over again. Like it's just gonna happen. Now I sound like a Raptor homer, but that would be the vision.
So,
Yeah,
would you accept 3 first-round picks?
for Siakam,
Yeah.
no, man, come on. No, there's definitely a team out there that is willing to give exactly what the Minnesota Timberwolves gave for Rudy Gobert. Maybe more.
You don't think it has to do with
He's
the
2 years younger than Rudy Gobert. He makes $10 million less than Rudy Gobert, and he's better than Rudy Gobert. Like, are you kidding?
well,
Like, when
Rudy,
if the Raptors ever trade this guy, I tell you, I
Rudy
swear to
Gobert
you,
is a
they're gonna get a haul.
historic. Gobert is a historic defender.
Yeah, he's also coming off a historic playoff failure. There is a stock element to this, right? Like Pascal Siakam is quietly putting together a top 10, 11 season per fan measurables. Let's just put it that way. Like per the numbers that fans measure, like his statistics are incredible, off the charts. And you're
If
not
I
gonna tell
had
me
to
Rudy.
bet, $1,000, I would bet it's about 2 to 3 first-round picks.
No, not happening. DeJounte Murray went for how many first round picks?
2.
Okay. And stuff. Right? So I don't know.
Who's that desperate though? The Lakers ain't got none to.
Kings. The Kings are that desperate.
My
I feel like
thing
I
is,
would want to see him
mine
go to the
doesn't
West.
operate that way though.
He should.
Like mine didn't even give a pick for Sabonis.
Yeah, you gave a top 10 player in the NBA for Sabonis, who's
stop
like
it.
5 years younger than your player.
Stop it. He's
Okay.
not a top
In
10
all
player.
honesty, though, like I do think Tyrese is like easily a top 5 point guard. Like you're kidding if you don't think he is. You can argue that Fox is in that conversation. That's fine, but I mean, like,
Bro, he's not better than LaMelo Ball.
okay, where did you and I both trust Thinky Basketball?
crazy.
Where did Thinky Basketball put Tyrese?
They
In
put
that-
him up
in-
extremely high. I think they put him like an 8 or 9.
I think they put him at 7 or 8. So my point is, like, he's in that Trae Young territory, and he's 22.
He's also that list was also right now. So
Yeah. 22 right
they
now.
didn't put
Everyone
Michael
ahead of him
Porter,
was older than him.
but they didn't
Everyone
put
ahead of him was older.
LaMelo. Like if those
They put
guys were
LaMelo at
healthy,
21.
yeah, but that's because he's been hurt all year though.
No. That was not about injury. It was not about injury. It was
Yeah, it was.
this player healthy. No, it wasn't. There was one player that they put
It's-
Michael Porter Jr. and he hasn't played in like a year.
No,
He's playing this year, but like
no, they didn't. They actually took him out of the top 25 because he said he didn't feel comfortable.
They put him in at 25. Last minute, they put him in at 25. My point is, like, LaMelo wasn't that low. Just look at his impact metrics, man. Last year, he barely impacted winning. He fell off a cliff. I'm telling you. The first year, it was very promising. Last year, he took a major sophomore slump, relative to expectation. And this year, it's kind of like, okay, he's been injured. The stock is down. I'm not saying
He's been to
gonna
the
be that way
playing
forever.
game. He's been to the playing game twice. Tyrese has never been to a playing game. So how does he impact winning? On
No
terms
offense,
of
Tyrese,
what?
Tyrese was on the Kings. I mean, like in fairness,
And
he
LaMelo,
was
in fairness, is on the Hornets. Like, one of the worst owners ever, by the way. Yeah. So until I see Tyrese take his team to a playing game this year, you tell me he's better than LaMelo Ball.
He is absolutely better.
Oh
than
my
LaMelo,
God.
man. You're talking about like 2.1 box plus minus versus 6.5. Are you kidding me? It's a huge gap.
So are they going to make the playing game this year?
I don't care. It doesn't matter. This is not the point. They're playing Benedict Mathurin. They're playing O'Shea Brissett. They're playing, Andrew Nembhard, major minutes. Like, this is a team that was trying to be like Wemby sweepstakes bad, and Tyrese just.
So what did
is
he do
so-
better than LaMelo Ball?
Well, he doesn't look better than LaMelo Ball. I'll tell you that.
What does he do
right?
better,
Like,
though?
he is a better game manager. The way he finds his guys like open for shots, the way that he's able to
In transition?
In transition, sure, but I've also seen this guy operate in the half court. I've also seen him make some incredible dimes, but I've also mainly seen him know how to facilitate in a way that is conducive to success for his teammates. I don't know. It's a cerebral skill. It's like, look, the conversation we're having about Tyrese right now is the same conversation I was having about Kyle Lowry like 6 years ago, right? People were like, what does he do better than so-and-so? And I'd be like, you don't get it unless you see it. Like when you see him do it, you're like, oh shit, he does all that little stuff to help you win a basketball game. Yeah, Kyle Lowry may, choke in the playoffs on an isolation possession, or may not be able to hit a three to save his life for an entire month. But at the end of the day, this guy just wins. And I know that sounds like hyperbole or cap or whatever.
What does he win though? What has he won? I mean, they're 15 and 16.
I mean, they're 15 and 16, and with that roster.
So how is that winning then,
dude?
We can't have it both ways though. Like that's not fair. It's just not. Like if they were 16 and 13, I'd be like, okay, that's fair.
Okay, really, one or two games. Well, you know what? They won 3 games over 500 at some point.
Yeah, that's because their schedule was fucking garbage.
Okay, so are you saying it's all because of schedule?
LaMelo Ball is cerebral as they get. I mean, we talk about Scotty Barnes all the time making the no-look pass. I literally saw LaMelo Ball make about 7 of them today in the half court while being guarded. Like, this guy is as cerebral as they get. The only knock I have on him is literally the fact that he's on cruise control and that he doesn't play hard. But when it comes to skill,
those are pretty big knocks for a point guard, general, tone setter, leader.
I mean,
right? Like
those are fair
at the end of the
knocks,
day,
sure.
Look, let's be real. Jason Williams, right? You remember Jason Williams? Of course you do. You're a Kings fan, right? I mean, it's a little bit before your time, I feel like, but it's still in your wheelhouse,
I love Jason Williams.
Right?
Of course.
Okay, you were a kid when he was playing, right?
Oh,
you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah, 29.
Yeah, so I mean, like that guy, like incredible talent, super fun to watch, right? But could you really compare him to Jason Kidd?
No.
Exactly. That's kind of my point. Like Jason Williams was like widely regarded by a lot of people as like a
Jason
top
Kidd was
10
also
guard.
way better defensively than Tyrese was. Tyrese is a fucking potato on defense.
Okay, sure. So you take Jason Kidd without, add a little bit of shooting to it, and take out the defense, and you get Tyrese Halliburton. That's where I see him. That's where I see this going. I mean, like, dude, the looks that he generates, you got to look at the quality of touches that his teammates are getting off of him. And sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, it's not about like the dexterity of the pass always, okay? Like you keep talking about the left hand. Okay. Sometimes it's about knowing who to pass to. Sometimes it's about doing that internal calculus. I just think Tyrese is a really smart player. And I think smart wins a lot. And humble, mature, smart, those are qualities that I actually prefer in a basketball player. I like those qualities in a basketball player. And they do have an impact on your locker room, on your outlook for winning, on your composure during a game.
He's a better leader.
Yeah, like I don't trust LaMelo Ball to not jack up stupid shots like when the game is on the line. Like, I mean, I'm going literally through this entire thing with Siakam right now and Fred VanVleet. You've been part of these. You've been party to these discussions about stupidity, right? I hate watching stupid basketball. And when I watch Tyrese, I don't watch stupid basketball. I don't disagree with one thing he does. Like I disagree with like 2 plays he makes all game maybe. So that's kind of where I'm at with him.
I saw LaMelo Ball literally make so many plays for his teammates tonight. I was so impressed.
Mm-hmm.
He's
a really good player. He's a really good player. I think
it was
he's one
insane
of the top,
to me.
like 12 point guards in the NBA. But I think Tyrese is like top 5. So it's like there's a gap. That's all I'm gonna say.
Top 5 over who though? Top 5 is like elite. Dude, do you understand what top 5 means in the NBA?
Top 5 point guards, bro. Are you kidding me? You're talking about a guy who is number 9 in offensive plus.
Luka, Steph, Dame, like he's in that conversation for you.
That's 3. What's 4? Trey? Is Trey 4th?
Shea is better than him.
I don't think Shea's a point guard, but okay.
Okay. John Morant's better than him.
Okay, that's one more. Okay, that's 4.
Okay, Garland's better than him. Kyrie is better than him.
Okay, so top 7 point guard. All right.
De'Aaron is better than him. 8.
Yeah. That's debatable for me. Very debatable. And I don't want to debate it, but I'm saying that's
fine. So yeah, he's
okay. Now ask.
He's not.
I'm gonna ask you the brilliant question. Did you name a single player who was younger than 22?
Do players plateau?
Players do plateau, but he hasn't. He's grown every single year. He's grown 3 years in a row. I mean, is there possible
So did Fox.
This is no.
So did Fox. For rookie year, sophomore year.
This is the same thing that people said about Siakam today. They were like, "Oh my God, he's the hardest worker in the NBA." I'm like, "How did the hardest worker in the NBA plateau for 3 straight years during his prime?" That's the question I want to ask. I like steady growth. I mean, I saw Tyrese Halliburton in college. He's a very good player. He got better in the first year, second year, third year. Now we're gonna look at fourth year, and if he plateaus and this is who he is, then hell of a haul. You get a guy on a rookie contract who's under team control for 4 years. It's a win for Indiana. It's a win for you guys because I don't see how Halliburton and Fox necessarily fit together anyways. But I feel like you guys cashed out low on him. I feel like you could have gotten more if you just waited to see it out. That's the only beef with this. Or I think like the alternative would be if Indiana was willing to accept Fox in that package, then I would have rather done that too. Then you would have 2 of the smartest players in the league in Domas and Tyrese. I mean, you need scoring at some point, so you'd have to surround them with like the most elite scorers ever. But I mean, like that would be crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't want Fox. I'll be honest. They didn't want Fox. They wanted a restart, and they wanted a rookie scale deal so that they can be flexible and draft more. I mean, it made a lot of sense.
That's exactly why I would, currently right now, I would probably happily make a trade. I know the Houston Rockets are not going to do it, but like I would happily make a trade like around Jabari Smith. Happily. If they're not happy with him, I will happily give you a win now, like much more competitive player and probably future draft pick for that guy. Because the idea of team control for the next 3 to 4 years plus, the right to match, like especially for small market teams and teams where, guys tend to leave when they get bigger offers, that's a really huge draw. And for a lot of young players, they don't usually develop like properly until like 24. They're not like elite. They're not in the conversation for top 10 at their position at that age. So when you have a guy who's giving you that type of production on a rookie contract, bro, you do not let that go because that is the ultimate team building chip. Ultimate. Because like what you can do with that guy, like what could the Warriors do right now if Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman just popped and became like top 10 players at their position? They would be a freaking dynasty, right? Again. But those guys aren't popping because that's what happens with young players. They struggle with concepts, they struggle with attitude, they struggle with all sorts of stuff. So to have a 22-year-old who didn't do any of that, got dealt, from a place where he actually wanted to be, and then got to a completely different place where, maybe he didn't want to go initially, because he wanted to stay in Sacramento, and now he's leading that team, bro. Like whatever you guys did as a fan base, like, to justify this or whatever, like I get it. This is fan psychology, right? Like when Vince Carter got traded from here, we all said he was a bum. He never wins. And now till this
Tyree's
very
not
day,
a bum. Tyree's not a bum.
No, absolutely. And that's the point. But like the fan base here did not forgive Vince for like 15 years. And all the accusations that he quit on us, he didn't do this, he'll never win. And every time Vince Carter got bounced out of the playoffs, I swear to God, there was one Toronto fan who would make a thread about it. See, he'll never win. And it's like, y'all just trying to feel better about the Aaron Williams and Eric Williams package. Like, relax, And I mean, like, you guys didn't even get Aaron Williams and Eric Williams. You got an actual all-star. So, like, I don't know why, whenever I go into a Kings forum, I'm part of a few, I still see, like, Tyrese talk. Like, why? He hasn't been on your team for almost a year now. Like, let it go.
Because Tyrese talks about them all the time on the JJ Redick podcast.
Like as a bad way? In a bad way?
Well, it's really JJ's fault because JJ prefaces it in a certain way, and then he makes Tyrese say that they had a bad culture, which they did, which, again, he's not lying about it. So when he says things like that, like for me, I'd be like, JJ, don't ask me any more questions about it, bro. And like JJ just wants
Right.
the quotes, and I get it. And he sets them up to fail because when he says shit like that, fans, as you said, fans are gonna overreact.
Right.
When if I
Yeah.
say it, you know what I mean? Like it's not a big deal. But if Tyrese says it, oh, he's bashing the Kings.
Yeah, but you're reasonable. You're the mature one. So just be the adult in the room and just be like, guys, not on the team anymore. We have a really good team now. We don't have to do this. So like I think like you can just move on. Like if we trade Siakam, I'm not talking about Siakam for the next 15 years. It's literally out of my vernacular. Done. I'm not going to talk about him.
What would Siakam provide for the Kings, in your opinion?
Elite clutch 3-point shooting like he did tonight. That was amazing, by the way. Just amazing.
Well, he
Bro,
missed a game one, or he missed a game tying.
Okay, you're gonna love this. If you have a moment, just check check the community post that I made showing a comparison, a side-by-side comparison between Kyrie Irving's game winner over Siakam and Van Vliet, and Siakam's game winner over DeAnthony Melton, who is 6'2", by the way. Melton,
He's a good player. He's a
Melton's
good player.
an amazing player.
I
but
love
he is 6'2". Hold on, but he's 6'2".
Right.
And you're 6'10". There's no way in hell, if you are the type of guy who should be taking that shot, that this guy should almost block your shot. Like that should never happen. And I was just showing like what the difference is between a superstar and not a superstar, basically in trying to get those shots off. It's about space. So anyway, in terms of what Siakam can bring you, well, he's an elite mover without the ball, like he used to be at least. I mean, he can be again, I'm sure. He's a much better defender. He's super switchable. He completely shores up and completely, let's say, complements everything Sabonis doesn't do.
Yeah,
And I
like
think
is he the
Sabonis
perfect
complements-
matchup, or
He
the perfect
is.
duo for a guy like Sabonis?
He is. I mean, you would wish that he could block more shots because he doesn't do that as much.
Right.
But I mean, he's 7'3" wingspan, 6'10". But I think what he does is he's the perfect segue between the defensive liability that is De'Aaron Fox. I mean, granted, he's much better this year, but still a bit of a defensive liability. Herter, who's still a bit of a defensive liability. Having a guy who can actually switch out in those situations can actually allow you to do a lot of more interesting things on defense, I think, relative to who you have right now, whoever you have right now playing that position. So,
I mean, you would have to take on HB because, like, the money wouldn't work, right?
yeah.
So he'd
Plus,
be.
he's got plus skill. He's got plus, and he's an incredible creator. So you have like a third creation option in your offense, which is like, how many teams can actually say they have 3 All-Stars? Like legit All-Stars. Siakam's not a fake All-Star. He's an All-NBA guy. He would be your best player. He would legitimately be your best player. I'm not kidding.
No, he wouldn't be the best player on the team.
He would be your best player on the team. Trust me, he would be. And this is coming from the biggest detractor of Siakam.
Well, if he's
on
the best
planet.
player on your team, the Kings are fucked.
No, they're not. Because unlike the Raptors, your second and third best players are not Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby, or Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes. Like your second and third best players are further along in their careers and or just better. I mean, if we could trade Fred VanVleet for De'Aaron Fox, granted the defense would probably take a hit, but like we would be, like I would be really happy with this core. I think that shift would create exactly what we need. I don't know. I think Siakam is better than Sabonis, and I think Fox. He's.
Do you
better
think
than
he's
Fox.
better than Sabonis?
Absolutely, there is
What
absolutely no comparison. My God.
Sabonis provides
Dude,
offensively?
you have Sabonis in a very limited role, in a very limited system, and trust me, your defense is not good. Your team defense is not good. So how he's performing individually doesn't exactly like tell the whole picture. Like, do you know what I mean? Like put it this way. Let's say you set like 4-man screens, like the craziest screen action you could ever think of, to get one guy open 3 after open 3 after open 3. Your offense would suck, right? But that guy would probably shoot pretty well from 3. That's kind of my point, right? You're limited in what you can do with Sabonis. Teams can always game plan around it. Trust me, Siakam is better.
So the Raptors are a defensive rating of 112.1, and the Kings are a defensive rating of 112.8.
Yeah, we are also missing like some of our best defenders. We've been missing Otto Porter and Precious Achiuwa for most of the season. Here's a stat that's going to blow your mind. With Precious Achiuwa in the lineup, the Raptors are on pace for 48 wins. With him out of the lineup, they're on pace for 25 wins.
And that's fucking wild.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Jesus.
He
Do
makes
you
a big
like him as a
difference.
player?
Precious Achua?
Yeah.
I do actually. Yeah, a lot. His true shooting percentage fell off a cliff this year, but in terms of like impact metrics at the rim, like his ability to guard at the rim, his ability to switch, he's like super versatile. So he's basically my Siakam replacement. Like when Siakam goes out, that's the guy I'm grooming into the Siakam role, and I'm just never going to let him become a first option. That's pretty much my theory on that. Plus, he's on a rookie contract. He's tight with OG and Scotty. I like that. You know, he's got a cool vibe to him. It's a little bit chucker-ish, but
Yeah.
and last year after the All-Star break, he shot 39% from three, so that's a huge plus too. And he can actually grab and go off the rim, which is crazy. He's a freak athlete. So yeah, I like
No,
a lot of things about Precious Achua.
I've seen him do it. I just feel like his IQ is pretty low. His
It is. It
his
definitely is.
feel. I feel like his awareness offensively is pretty bad. And I don't know if he ever groomed
misses
that.
a lot.
He does.
Misses a lot, but like I mean, if you make him like a catch and shoot, you know,
Right.
standstill corner shooter like we did last year, I mean, like the way this guy broke down, I think it was Joel Embiid in the playoffs. Like it was maybe a guard. It was like a shifty dribble move, side, and it was crazy. We've lost Leo, so I'm officially the host of Basketball Zone right now. What do you guys want to talk about? Well, I don't know because I can't see your comments. Because wait, I could see your comments. Hold on, but I can't bring your comments up. Rob sounding like a used car salesman. Sorry guys, I'm looking. Fraud Rob is back. Never accounts for injuries and player development year to year. Tyrese is way better than Ja. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Yikes. Sorry guys. I'm just reading your comments because I haven't been able to see your comments the whole time. This is crazy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You left for a bit. I was just reading some of the comments, man. Rob's a fraud. Doesn't like count for injuries. I'm like, bro, I've taken so much shit on Twitter today.
Have you?
Like,
When did you get a Twitter?
I just got it. Because like someone sent me a screenshot of someone talking shit. Like he's like some really big dude, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna bite. What's Pensari basketball? And then all these people are writing like underneath like, what is Pensari basketball? And they're like,
Yeah.
this guy does this, you know. And I was just like reading that shit, and I'm like, my god, this is bad for my mental health. Like I don't want to be on this space. But
Twitter
then
is fucking wild, bro.
seriously. But like then I kind of went Jordan on it. Like in my own head, I was just like, you know what? Like, these guys are just super salty. It's like a lot of content creators on there just talking mad shit. And it's like when you start to pay attention to it, like you remember that video that I made about Scotty Barnes, and it's like Toronto, you have a superstar, right? This content creator made a tweet with Pascal Siakam's picture and said, Toronto, you have a superstar. And it's like these low level kind of digs because Scotty had a really bad game today. And it's just like, man, there's like a part of me that's just like, should I back off? And then there's another part of me that's just like, nah, bury them. So I'm gonna bury them. But yeah,
What'd you call it? Pensari basketball.
Pensari B-ball. That's the Twitter handle at Pensari B-ball.
Pensari B-ball.
I mean, I'm sure it'll grow like everything else, but yeah.
There he is. 24 followers now.
Nice. 24 followers. I had 2 like an hour ago. That's cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so tell me, like, okay, so here's an exercise that I think we can do for your viewers. How many people do you have on this right now?
15.
15 people. Okay, so how about this? You know I'm pretty informed about the league, right? Pretty informed. All right, so why don't we play that game that we played, right? Where you call about a trade, but I can be any rival GM. Just don't make that same OG package, and we can tell your audience what the package was, right? So I was Masai Ujiri in that trade, and Leo came in as Fred VanVleet, but actually Monty McNair,
Right.
and he traded me Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, the 2023 draft pick, unprotected, and was it 2027 unprotected?
Yeah.
2027 unprotected. That was it, right?
That only
No.
works if Atlanta concedes it and says 2025 is available.
Right. And then there was Nemes Keita.
Yeah,
Wait.
Keita.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I gave up OG Anunoby and Malachi Flynn and Cam Birch.
Yeah.
So that was the deal. I don't know how I feel about that deal anymore, but give me a deal as another team that you're thinking.
I think
about.
everybody said that you fleeced me, and now that I'm thinking about it, you kind of did.
Yeah, I fleeced everybody. That's why I'm good at my job.
I was like, I should have just given you one pick, and that would have been enough.
Yeah, but then I would have said no. So that's the
Why
power
would
of
you say no to
negotiation.
that though?
Because I love OG Anunoby, and it's like I am negotiating from the position of I don't have to trade this guy, and you're negotiating from a position of desperation that you do have to trade for this guy.
So I
You're
made the
always
right
gonna
move
lose.
then.
Pardon?
So I made the right move then.
No, you made the wrong move. You gave up way too much.
For
Of
a
course you did.
25-year-old 3-and-D guy?
I mean, 25-year-old 3-and-D guy who's a standstill shooter, awkward offense, like really good defense, but a very, very, very questionable durability issues, and will definitely require, if he works out for you, will definitely require a max contract within 2 years. So you don't have like the length of contract that you do with Keegan Murray. Whereas we get a rookie on a rookie contract who can probably develop into the offensive equivalent of what OG Anunoby is defensively, because he's just the 4th overall pick. I guess a lot of this would depend on just my own internal scouting notes on Keegan Murray. But if the Raptors liked him, this is a no-brainer for them, of course. And Harrison Barnes is a great, solution, and probably someone who fits really well into a win now philosophy for us. Probably bring him back on his bird rights. Pair him up with Otto and Thad. He fits into our 6'9" vision. For shit, man. Of course you got fleeced in that deal. And I got 2 first-round picks from a team that may or may not, be really
So
bad
you
in
wouldn't do it
2027.
for one pick?
I wouldn't. No.
Would
that's
Masai
exactly
do
it.
it for one pick?
No. Masai is a much better negotiator than even I am. But do you see like
Right. But I did it, like you said, out of desperation. But now that I think about it, I think they would do one pick.
they wouldn't.
Then what are
They
they gonna get? Then are you gonna keep the same team?
But that's
and then
the point.
and then
We
and then be like the
actually want
10 seed?
But here's the point, Leo. We actually want to keep him. We want to keep OG Anunoby. There's no reason for us to want to trade him. We don't want to trade him. So maybe if you wanted to trade for Gary Trent Jr., you might get something. You might catch us snapping a little bit, right?
They
That's
don't
my
want to
point,
trade
though,
for
right?
Gary Trent. They don't want to
So,
trade for Gary Trent Jr.
The whole thing, I think, like the mindset of being a good general manager is to have the pieces that you want that you want to keep, and then to actually be open to letting them go. If a package comes along, you can't just be like, "No, I'm never trading Fox." Yeah, there's like 60 or 70 packages that you should be willing to trade Fox for, including but not limited to DeJounte Murray and 4 first-round picks. Like, you'd be crazy not to trade Fox for that, right? But like, do you see my point? Like, you should have like one side of the aisle is players I don't want to get rid of, but I have like a premium on getting rid of them. It's almost like a trade kicker, right? Like when you trade certain players, their salary goes up 5-10%, right? It's almost like that. Like for me, Scotty Barnes has a trade kicker in my mind. You're gonna have to pay me 15% above market value for that guy, maybe 25% above market value because of how much he means to my organization, my fan base. You got to look at it from that perspective too. Scotty Barnes means a hell of a lot more to Toronto Raptor fans or Toronto Raptors than he does to anybody else. Number one, we have most intel on him. Number two, our fan base is most attached to him. Like, that's a really big move for us to move off this guy, when his stock is kind of like diminished right now a little bit, but like, you know what I mean? So
are
it's
the
like,
Raptors willing to give OG the max deal in 2 years?
if he is worth it at that moment, like if he stays relatively healthy, if he takes that next step offensively, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they want to? I don't see why they wouldn't want to, but at that point, it'll be very difficult if Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam are on the books with very similar deals, and then Scotty Barnes is the very next year eligible for an even bigger deal, like a super max off his rookie contract. It's going to be like close to $45 million on the next cap. So yeah, like the Raptors can get really pricey, and there's not a single guy here other than Scotty that I would see as a top 15 guy in the NBA. So yeah, like, I mean, it's a situation. but OG is under a very criminally underpaid contract for the next 2 years, and that's why he's a huge asset to any team. Because unlike a guy like, I don't know, Gobert, who's probably 10 million overpriced, even at his best, right? Crazy amount of money, right? 45 million.
100%.
OG is 10 million underpriced. So not only are you technically getting a player who's really good, he's also like 10 million underpriced, which like allows you 10 million more of roster building space. I think there's a lot of things that go into this for me.
I think when I think about it, you got 3 first-round picks as opposed to 2 because Keegan is a first-round pick. So that's why I believe Masai would still accept that deal, because you're getting a top 4 pick plus an unprotected pick plus Harrison. So,
No,
I got fleeced by like 1 pick, but
the number 4
but it's
pick,
there.
no,
It's there.
because the number 4 pick in a vacuum holds more value than a future pick. The number 4 pick in this draft held more value than any future pick ever. I guarantee you that. Like if there's a dollar amount that I can put on that pick, it's probably like 25 million, 20 million, something like that. There's no future pick worth that much. There's no team whose outlook is so destitute that you can guarantee they're going to have the number 4 pick next year. Do you know what I mean? Like right now, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like let's say at the trade deadline, the worst team in the league wants to sell their pick. Based on the fact that Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson are so hyped to hell, that pick might actually be worth close to what your number 4 pick was worth like 4 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever, whenever you drafted him. That's my point.
Well,
There's too much
apparently
uncertainty.
nobody wanted that pick.
That's not true. That's not true. But I mean, like also, you know,
I mean,
it's kind
you
of
said plenty of times that 4 pick in the summer had no value because
I didn't say no value. I said it had a diminished value because people had a perception that this was a top 3 draft, and in a lot of ways, it was. There were 3 guys who were eligible for the number 1 pick. There were 3 guys who were in the conversation for number 1, and so for a fan base, I mean, you know, like drafting is a crapshoot unless you're the Raptors, in which case it's not. So the perspective here would be, if you look at it from that perspective, then one of those guys is going to be sold as a franchise savior to whatever team drafts them. Right. And that's going to boost ticket sales, season ticket sales, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be ad revenue coming in for that player. There's going to be renewed interest in that player. That always happens with rookies, right? It's like what happened with you guys and Marvin Bagley until people figured out he couldn't play, right? So that's my point. But like at 4, you're not selling Jaden Ivey the same way you're selling Paolo or Chet or Jabari, because he was never in that conversation as the number 1 guy. You're not selling Keegan Murray the same way you're selling Jabari Smith. So that's my point. There's a drop-off. There's a perceptive drop-off. It's the same way in 2003. There was a big gap between how people viewed the 3rd pick, which was Carmelo, and the 4th pick, which was Bosh. Ironically, Bosh and Wade had a better career than Melo and Darko. So it's not reality. It's just perception in that moment. Because if you are the Denver Nuggets and you believe in your silly mind that Dwayne Wade out of Marquette is a better player than Carmelo Anthony, that's not going to help your ticket sales. That's going to turn your fans against you because you turned down a surefire top 3 pick, a generational athlete coming out of Syracuse with a national title, college player of the year, I think, and you just turned him down for this random guy out of Marquette. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's kind of like it's intimidating to be that high in the draft when there's a locked-in perception. Look at what happened with the Raptors and Scotty Barnes, right? Suggs is the guy. Suggs is the most NBA-ready guy. He's just, you know, he hit this game winner. He's Gonzaga. He's going to be the next Kyle Lowry. The Raptors go off the board and they pick, you know, Scotty Barnes. And I swear to God, fans are still angry about it.
100%. Rob, how much did you lose on your parlay? Because this guy lost, because Nick lost $800 on the Kings tonight. So,
oh, I didn't lose that much. I made my money back betting. So I bet, I bet against the Magic to lose for whatever reason. Because when I saw DeJounte Murray and Trae Young were back, I'm like, I don't think they're going to lose this game, and I don't think the Magic can sustain this. So I put Sixers Hawks. That was my 2, and then I extended that parlay to include different teams. So it was like those 2. Those are what I consider sure bets. So those 2 and Phoenix, because I saw LeBron wasn't playing. So those 3 became the stable of all of my bets, and then everything else I added. So there's like 3 legs that I add. There's 3 bets, 3 separate like $3-4 bets that I added. But like when I say $3-4, guys, like it's a $3 bet with like 3 what I consider locks, and the payout is like $95. So yeah, that's kind of like how I did it.
Would you be shocked if I told you that I bet the Hornets in the first half?
No, because you're a big LaMelo fan.
I'm not a big LaMelo fan, but I actually bet the Hornets plus 2.5, and they won by 3.
Wow, I actually bet Orlando plus 7.5 when they had that, and they ended up like pulling it right out in the end. I was like, oh my god, thank God.
They won. The Magic won today?
No, the Atlanta Hawks won, but Magic plus 7.5 they still covered.
Oh shit! They lost by 1.
Yup. It's a good team, man. It's turning into a good team. I can't believe I'm saying that about the Orlando Magic, but Bol is the truth.
Fultz had 24 points tonight.
Yup. That's how bad Trae Young is on defense. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. No, I'm rooting for Markelle Fultz.
Jesus, Bol 6 points tonight. What a game!
Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm pretty sure Scotty Barnes had 6. I'm pretty sure Scotty Barnes had 6 points today too. Okay, like it happens.
I love Bol. Scotty had. Let me see what Scotty had.
Pretty sure he had 6 points.
Jesus, he did have 6 points today.
Took 9 shots, stood him in the corner the whole game, and
did they really?
Honestly, pretty much, man. But there was like one time where he caught the ball and then he just faked it for no reason. There was like nobody there. Then he dribbled it and then took a fadeaway 3. And I was like, bro.
Did
like,
he take like 3 bad threes or like 3 good threes?
He took 1 good 3, 2 bad threes, if I recall correctly. But yeah, okay, make me a deal, man. Like stop. Okay, like don't be worried about getting fleeced on your own show. Just make better deals from a less desperate perspective. Just call me up, and let me know what GM I am, and then give me your package.
Okay, let's look at the Hornets tonight. Okay.
So you want to make a trade with the Hornets?
You're Michael Jordan tonight, or Mitch.
Yes.
You're Mitch Kupchak tonight.
Shit. I prefer to be Michael Jordan, but yeah.
Okay, we can be Michael Jordan today. The owner, not the player. I want Mason Plumlee. I want I don't know, PJ or Kelly. Kelly's on an expiring deal, so he's playing up for a contract. I don't know if his 31 points tonight was fool's gold or not. Probably was. Let's see what he's averaging this year. All right. I want Kelly Oubre.
Okay.
I just got to check what the numbers are on this contract. Do you know how much he makes? This has to be realistic. So let me.
It's not a lot.
Okay. Actually, let's look at share screen. Let's look at Fans Pro. And let's put you back on the screen because I can't see you. Okay. Put Robert up here. Or Bobby Webster. Never mind. And here is the trade. Team number 1, Hornets. Team number 2, the Kings. And we want Kelly to the Kings. That's 12.6 million. Mason's at 9, expiring. Okay. And I want Jaden McDaniels, who's gonna get paid after this. Okay. And now they get to play their beloved Nick Richards, who they're gonna pay because he's also on an expiring deal. And the Kings are obviously going to trade Rashawn in this deal. They're going to trade.
So I'm giving up Mason Plumlee.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre. And Jalen McDaniels.
Yep. I'm giving you, what are they at? 9 plus 12, 20, 22 million. Jesus. They don't make that much money. Let me see. Oh, I'm out of rut right now. I can't give you Harrison because that makes too much money. Jesus Christ. Hornets. Somebody. Fuck it, I'll give you Davion. All right. And I'll give you. Let's see if this works. So, would you accept Rashawn, Metu, Davis, and Davion?
No.
And the first round pick protected?
What's the protection?
Top 15.
Top 15.
So lottery
okay.
protected. So
I feel
lottery
like
protected.
I'm sorry. I consider Rashawn Holmes an albatross of a contract at this point. He's having a terrible season,
Okay.
and he's got that controversy behind him last year. And I'm sorry, I don't want to touch that. We got Terrence Davis, who has a similar controversy. Like, what are you trying to do to my team, yo?
Well,
Do you realize 3 of my players just got arrested this offseason? What are you trying to say? You're trying to create the jailblazers up in here, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to create the jailblaze. You're trying to get rid of all your problems. No.
Terrence Davis is a great guy. Rashawn's a great guy. I can attest to that.
I feel like I'm giving you the best player in this deal in Mason Plumlee.
I think Mason would be a great backup to Sabonis.
Sure, of course he would be, but he is still the best player in this deal, and I think Kelly Oubre is probably, a close second. I think Terrence Davis is good. Davion Mitchell is very incomplete. I don't care that much about Metu, and I think Rashawn Holmes is a negative asset at this point.
Okay, so that's not gonna
even
work.
At $11 million.
Let me see. It's hard to trade with them when. Here we go. We'll add Terry Rozier to this, and we'll add Harrison Barnes.
That's not making it better at all.
Why not?
Scary Terry's amazing. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but you got 4 years at $21 million. Who the hell wants to pay him that guy?
He's worth it.
So you think he's the best player in this deal?
I mean, I can check, but
over Harrison Barnes.
I think it's close. But let me create a more informed. I mean, they it's hard to say because he's been on this completely shifty and weird roster, but
let's see. Does this even work? Let me see if this even works. Yeah, it does work.
Yeah, I mean, apart from poor shooting,
the Kings are a +5 wins.
Yeah, it's a terrible deal.
But no, but this fits the Wemby sweepstakes though. Okay?
But that's you're assuming that I want to take on terrible contract Rashawn Holmes, an expiring deal in Harrison Barnes. How is that going to help me win? I'm sorry, how's that going to help me lose? This is the worst deal in the history of the world. I would be run out of town. Michael Jordan would beat me in one-on-one over and over until I basically quit and yelled mercy. No, man, this is so one-sided. Absolutely not. You're just taking assets off my page and you're giving me nothing. You consider Harrison Barnes an asset for a team that is looking to add a final piece for a very strong championship run and or cares about his bird rights. You can't tell me half a season of Harrison Barnes is a serious asset, unless, of course, that asset on your end is being used to dump an albatross contract from my books to give you. Then he's an asset. Not when I'm giving you Terry Rozier, who's on a very, very, very team-friendly contract for what he is.
Would you trade Rashawn Holmes for Mason Plumlee and a second-round pick?
No. Not even close. Not even in the ballpark.
Three
Absolutely not.
3 second round picks.
No.
Wow. So you're gonna let Mason walk for nothing?
Why would he walk?
Because he's a free agent.
Why can't we bring him back?
Why would you bring him back when you
Dude, we could
have
trade-
when you have Nick Richards?
Okay, first of all, you continuously you're treating Rashawn like he's a positive asset.
I'm
He's
giving
not.
you 3 second round picks though.
Second round picks are basically useless. They get sold all the time. You think 3 second round picks is making me take $33 million of Rashawn Holmes
Well, this is a team that
on the wrong side of
wanted.
30?
This is the one team that wanted Rashawn. So maybe they can revive him.
because they're on crack. That's why. No.
All right, let's go
Let me tell you
somewhere
something.
else.
Let me tell you something. If the only team that wants a particular player is the freaking Charlotte Hornets, read the room. That's the fact.
Let me see. Let's look at the Utah Jazz because now you're damn it. Now you're Danny Ainge.
All right.
All
now
right.
we're talking.
Oh,
I'm a baseball player. Like, I might not be the baseball/basketball player that I wanted to be in Jordan, but I'm a better baseball player/basketball player in Danny Ainge.
I want Jared Vanderbilt. Trade to the Kings. You don't like Jared?
I'm laughing already. Okay, go.
All right. Just depends on what are they? Are they like, are they contending? Are they not going to contend?
You want me to trade a 23-year-old who is an overwhelmingly positive player? You better be giving me something incredible.
I'll give you Terrence Davis and the first round pick. That's pretty fair. You're getting a first round pick for Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you're talking about Jared Vanderbilt like he's a bum. He's not.
No,
a bum.
I
He's
want
a
him on
really
my
good
team
player.
because he's a good player. Yeah.
So 3 straight years of shooting 62% true, 61% true shooting, 62% now. So I know that he takes incredible. This year has upped his 3-point attempt rate by a lot, and his true shooting percentage didn't dip. Rebound rate is solid. Turnovers have cut down a lot. Win shares per 48.147. Oh my god. And 1.7 box plus minus. Okay, let me confirm one more thing. Jared Vanderbilt. Dude, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not getting him.
Let me see
You're
if I
not
can take
getting
a
him
bad
unless
contract.
you're packing. Like, you're gonna be packing like several assets for this guy.
Okay, would you trade Terrence Davis, a first round pick, and 3 second round picks?
You keep dangling these second round picks like they're anything other than like a victory cigar. They're not worth shit, man.
Hey, I'm trading picks to the pick master.
Yeah,
and Danny Ainge.
we have a lot of picks. You see what we did to the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Why
We
not
fleeced
more?
them. Why not more? How many more do you
Yeah.
think we need? Look, I think Jared Vanderbilt is a hell of a player at his physical profile, 6'9". I think he's improved every single year. He's now making threes, which is crazy. Super efficient.
Like at one attempt.
0.17 attempt rate is actually a really decent attempt rate for a low volume 3-point shooter. It's not just one attempt.
Let
So
me see what it is. Jared Vanderbilt. Let me see what it is. He is attempting. He's attempting one attempt a game.
yeah, in 24 minutes. but he's shooting 37% on that one attempt.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not mad at him.
I'm not calling him a sniper. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, he's hitting out at the respectable rate, and that was the last thing missing from his game.
So, if you're Danny, you know I want Jared. What
I want him. I want him to be a part of my core going forward. That's what we're trying to build around here. That's why we demanded that he be included in that Minnesota pick, in that Minnesota trade.
So you're not budging no matter what.
On him, like, you would have to give me something pretty incredible for him.
What do you want? And then that way, because now I'm like, okay, well, you're not budging, so I'm on the phone with you. What would it take, Danny Ainge? You're looking at my roster.
How much does Vanderbilt make? It's 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
4.3 million.
Terrence makes 4.
Yeah, keep him.
Do you want to get rid of Rudy Gay? And his
No.
$6 million?
It's a 2-year deal, and it's less than the mid-level exception, and he's still, like, decent. It's cool. And don't even touch Nikhil Alexander Walker, I swear.
I was going to touch
He's
him
good.
too.
And I
I was
also
gonna
like
touch
Taylor
him.
Horton Tucker. I mean, he's someone where I'm like, like, he's probably the least of those guys, but I like him.
That's
Let me
Tyrese's
see.
buddy.
Yeah, doesn't matter. He can visit him in Utah. I'm trying to see, like, who I don't like on the Utah Jazz roster versus, like, see, here's the problem. You have like 4 or 5 players on your team that I don't like, right? But the Utah Jazz have like no players that I don't like. Like, every single player here is.
Do you like
someone
Colin
that
Sexton?
I like him a little bit less than some people, but I like him. Yeah.
So you're not willing to trade veterans away to get worse or better because you're in the middle of the pack right now, which is the worst spot you can be.
I mean, in theory, it's the worst spot you can be unless your, brilliant trade rival, the Minnesota Timberwolves, are headed straight for the lottery. I mean, look, we're trying to build something competitive here. We're trying to build something that, can ignite the fan base. And, if we end up somewhere high in the lottery next year, maybe it'll be with Minnesota pick.
No. If you keep this roster, Mr. Ainge, and if the T-Wolves keep their roster, you will not get Wemby. And your whole plan was to get Wemby.
How do you know that?
That's what they wanted. That's why you traded all those players for all those picks.
But how do you know that? Like, I mean, I certainly don't think I'm keeping Mike Conley on a team where it's like actually trying to lose. Lauri Markkanen is a hell of a player. Colin Sexton's a really good player. No, what I did was I convinced the world that I was trying to tank, but in reality, I was trying to field a competitive young core that I could bring a solid piece into. I'm not trying to be the worst team in the league. I was never trying to be the worst team in the league.
Is that what you're trying to tell yourself right now? Because these are a bunch of mishaps. First of all, let me educate you on something.
That's funny.
Jordan Clarkson is playing out of his fucking mind.
Yep. Hell of a player.
Right now he is. But he's not what he is, okay? Malik Beasley is shooting out of his damn mind as well. He's not what he is. So these numbers will go down, and their team wins have gone down because of it. At one point, they were the number 1 team in the West. Now they're...
That was never going to be sustainable.
Okay, so now you're a middle of the pack team, and your goal was to tank. This team doesn't scream championship to me at all.
No, but look, we have solid pieces that we like.
And you're Utah.
We have Walker.
Nobody wants to go to Utah at all. And no disrespect to my Mormon brothers, but nobody wants to go to Utah whatsoever.
That's rich. That's rich coming from the general manager of Sacramento.
I mean, we are in California, baby. Sunshine hits a little bit nicer out here. Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen is nice, but he's the 3rd best player on the championship team. Maybe.
Sure.
So
So we need to
what
find
player on this roster screams star? Because nobody else does. And I'm keeping it real.
nobody
Nobody.
else does. Nobody else is
Nobody.
jumping out to you. You don't think that these are all developmentally speaking, like
These are
at
all
least
mishaps. Mike Conley's not going to stay there. Okay. Jordan Clarkson's about to get traded. Malik going to get traded. Kelly's a good player. He's a good role player.
that's someone you can have.
Okay, so let's add him to this move.
Mm-hmm.
He don't make enough money. Let me see. I want my Argentinian brother, Simone Fonchentito. Let me see if that works. 12, 5, 17. Would you accept this trade?
What?
Harrison, Terrence Davis for Kelly, Jared, and Simone.
Nope. So Kelly Olynyk is the best player in this deal.
No, he's not.
F1.
He's
Yes,
not better
he
than Harrison
is.
Barnes. He's not better than Harrison Barnes.
Yes, he is.
He don't have more.
He's a really overwhelmingly positive defender this year. Go check the numbers.
He's not a better player than Harrison Barnes, bro. Stop.
I mean, he's not a better player, but he's having a much better season. Let's put it that way.
I like Kelly.
And he makes us money.
I like Kelly. He also has 2 years left on his deal.
No, I understand that.
So I'm giving you 2 expiring, which helps your tank.
Why? Why would I want expirings? Do you think anyone's signing with us? No one's going to sign with us. What does cap space do for me? Cap space doesn't do shit for me. What I need are young players that I can groom and develop in my culture. So if you are taking win now players from me, I want Keegan Murray.
Nope.
Okay, what would it take to give you to
If
get
I
us
put Keegan Murray in this deal, then I want Nickel and an unprotected first.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Because Keegan Murray is the most valuable player in his entire trade.
I mean, in theory, yes.
No, he is. He has the most value out of anybody here.
Yeah, but if you hold on to him for another year, who knows? Maybe I'm grabbing a depreciating asset.
Maybe if
right now,
Kelly got for 1 more year, he might be depreciating asset too, or even Vanderbilt. Maybe the 37 goes to 27%. Who knows?
I mean, Alexander Walker is like a pretty solid two-way wing. He's 24 years old, and Keegan is no spring chicken at this point. No. So what I'm thinking of is I want to add him to a core which includes Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I'll give you draft picks, but I'm not giving you unprotected draft picks. I will give you a player that will help you win now, and I will give you a future first that's protected. But I will not give you Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I will not give you Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, or Walker Kessler. To those 4 players I pull off. If you want Taylor Horton-Tucker, you want someone like that, like, sure. But, yeah. So basically the swap here is I give you a future first for your 4th overall pick this year, and I give you a player who's better than that player right now who helps you actually win. So you salvage the pick, technically, by getting a pick in the future. And for now, you get a player that's better than Keegan Murray, which is basically half my roster. Make sense?
Now, would you trade Metu and Davis for Sadiq Bey?
Oh, no, the Detroit Pistons.
And 3 second-round picks.
Metu and who?
And Terrence Davis.
No, I wouldn't. I love Sadiq Bey, but I feel like they might not, but I do. And since I'm Sadiq Bey is my favorite player on the Pistons. I like him more than Cade. You want Cade?
I would love Cade. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I will trade you Cade Cunningham. That I will do.
Jesus, we can't
I'm,
make
I'm
no
gonna,
deals.
I'm gonna become a laughing meme. I will trade you Cade Cunningham. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, they're not trading me Cade Cunningham.
But I will trade you Cade Cunningham
Let me
as I
see.
operate the Pistons right now.
Okay, here we go.
No, in reality, I wouldn't. I've sold my fan base on the lie already, so I owe it to them to stick this out.
Would you trade Harrison Barnes, Terrence Davis, or Kyle Kuzma
No, hell no, hell no.
for the Kings or
kidding
what?
me? For the Wizards, man.
You like Kyle Kuzma
He's been really good this year.
on a really bad team, who was 27 years old already, who was about to get a monster deal.
About to get a monster deal. He's got 2 years. What are you talking about?
No,
You're giving me 2 expirings.
He has a player
Why
option.
Okay, dude. Here's the thing. I'm not contending. You understand that, right? I'm probably not gonna make the playoffs. You also get that. And I'm not going to be a free agent destination next year because my team is kind of garbage and I'm pretty capped out with Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. So what the hell do I care about an expiring? You got to realize that, man. Like, look, there's a market for Harris. The pieces that you're trying to sell, there's a market for those guys. And those teams are all contenders. Terrence Davis helps a contender right now as a spark plug off the bench. Harrison Barnes helps a contender off the bench. He helps a contender. Like, the ideal place to ship a guy like Terrence Davis is to a team that is a contender that has started out struggling. So you're looking at teams like, not contender, but like a playoff team that started out struggling. So you're looking at teams like the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if they bring him back, but like teams like that.
So Kuzma is a free agent.
What?
Kuzma, yeah, he's opting out. He already said he was.
Yeah, of course.
So,
but I retain his bird rights, and I could sign him back.
Are you going to?
Definitely. Yeah.
You
Dude,
like Kyle Kuzma? Really?
I don't like Kyle Kuzma.
Okay, that's because I'm like, he's like the player that's inefficient, that takes bad shots, like that doesn't play good defense, and I'm like, you're defending Kyle Kuzma.
Typically, I wouldn't, but I know that.
Jesus, we can't make no deals then.
You got to make a deal with the right team, and that team is a contender.
You keep acting like the expiring deal is a knock, but it's actually a good thing. You're creating cap space.
But I don't want cap space. That's the thing.
Yes, you do. Bad teams, historically speaking, have always wanted flexibility. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look at all these bad teams. They want expiring deals. That way they buy them out. And they're off the fucking books. Like, that's how they operate, off of expiring deals.
But what are they giving up for those expiring deals? They're not giving you expiring deals on better, younger players. Come on, man. No,
he's younger by like 2 years.
First of all, when the Oklahoma City Thunder traded for Chris Paul, or when they traded for Kemba Walker, those guys were not expirings. They actually had multiple years left on their contract. The Oklahoma City Thunder gave up the expirings.
What does it matter if they're going to buy them out anyway?
Because when you buy a player out, they come off your cap, but like you get the picks. The team with the years, like right now, for instance, like give you the reverse example. Let's say I'm the Kings, and I have this contract of a player like Rashawn Holmes, who maybe I don't want on my team, which you clearly don't, since you've tried to offer me in like 85 different trades. Right? You're just like,
he just makes the most money to make the thing work.
Bro,
I want to get rid of him.
I feel like I'm gonna go to a restaurant in Sacramento one day, and you're gonna show up as a waiter at my restaurant, and I'm gonna see on my menu it's gonna be like Rashawn Holmes. Like, I swear to God. Like, here's the point: if I want to get rid of this guy, I'm gonna have to attach assets to get rid of him, because that's how much I want to get rid of him. And so, if I'm trying to free up cap space for myself for whatever reason, then I'm gonna take an expiring back. So I'm getting 2 years off the deal to get 1 year off your deal. Do you know what I mean? So like, you're not gonna. I'm not going to trade you 3 for 3. I'm not going to trade you my problem for your problem unless like it's like a Russell Westbrook Chris Paul swap, right? You know what I mean? Like you're going to have to attach assets to a player that you think is an asset. Like so the thing is like Harrison Barnes is an
You don't
asset.
want second round picks. We don't have first round picks to trade you. So
What do you mean you don't have first round picks? I happen to know I happen to have it on good authority that you do have first round picks.
we have
Look,
first round picks. We do own the picks, but because of Kevin Huerter's trade, we can't give you the 2023 and 2024 pick. So
Okay.
they're going to have to be future first round picks.
2025, 2027?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yep. So here are the assets that you have. 2025. Like assets are what? Like assets to
Actually,
a
it's
rebuilding team.
The
To a
Stepien.
rebuilding.
Wait, does the Stepien work? No, so it'll have to be 2026 then.
You can't trade picks in consecutive years. You traded
Right, so
what?
it's
For Kevin
either
Huerter, you traded
24 or 25.
So if you traded 24, right?
But the way is the verbiage of it is so in essence it's 2027, which sucks. Until
No,
that
it's
pick,
22
it's
2026.
it's until the pick conveys. So you're fucking stuck. You can't give up as of today. You can't give up 23, 24, 25, 26. It has to be 2027.
So you got to find a team that's willing to make you better while making themselves worse while not taking back many picks. So basically the type of player that you can bring onto your team right now without the, benefit of having first round picks to trade
I'm not
away.
trying to give away 2 first round picks for Kuzma, bro. Stop saying that.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
No, not you.
I'm trying to get to a point where we can realize what type of team and what type of player can you guys actually target. And that's what I'm trying to get to. So you don't have picks to trade. You just have seconds and you have Rashawn Holmes and Harrison Barnes, like guys like this, right? Rashawn Holmes, if he was not expiring right now, I could see a team taking a flyer on him. But 3 years for a guy who's producing this badly, no, right? So I think Harrison Barnes is an asset only to a team that can give you back a longer contract that they don't want, right? On a player that you want more than Harrison Barnes. So they're trying to take the years off and you're getting the better pick, but then you take the extra years. Know what I mean? So
we're stuck is what you're saying. If I'm dealing with you, we're stuck. Because we can't get anybody. Because you don't appreciate second round picks.
I mean, nobody does. What are you talking about? Second round picks. I mean, considering that you guys are going to be relatively good, it's not like you're the Detroit Pistons and those second round picks are going to be like 33, 34. You guys are going to be giving me picks in the 40s, potentially 50s at some point if you're real good. Like those picks are worthless.
So we're stuck with this roster, as what you're telling me.
Unless you're willing to part out with actual assets.
They're not going to get rid of Keegan. They're not getting rid of Keegan if you don't get someone like OG.
Go through your roster, and I will actually. How about this? I'll tell you how many. I'll give you the value of each player in what I think in picks, right?
But this is the thing: you're not getting rid of Huerter. You're not getting rid of Malik. You're not getting rid of Keegan unless it's for OG or Siakam. So
come on, dude. You're overvaluing your players so much. Trust me, Keegan does not have that type of value right now.
No, that I said in
OG and Siakam?
In a trade, that's the only way that they would trade Keegan, is what I'm trying to tell you.
But I'm trying to tell you that if you guys are serious about competing and you're not sure that Keegan Murray is going to work out for you, and obviously you have more intel than any other team right now on him, then the considerably smart thing to do would be to trade him for a player and package Rashawn Holmes. Like here's what I would do if I was the Kings, right? I would package a contract that I don't like Rashawn Holmes, to Keegan Murray, and I would take like a massive upgrade on that on that $17 million.
No, Rashawn makes 11.2.
No. I know that, but how much does Keegan make? 7?
8.
Okay, so that's combined 19, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can find a player out there who makes around $21 million, who is a considerable, massive upgrade over Keegan Murray on a team that's not contending. There's your trade. And if that player makes a little bit more, then you add Davion Mitchell as well.
So OG.
Something like OG, but not OG.
Who the fuck am I going to get?
Something like OG, but not OG.
See what I'm saying?
I mean, again, to be an upgrade over Keegan Murray right now is not really. I'm not saying
that's
much.
not the point.
And the Rashawn Holmes element of this is the other team taking.
You're missing the point.
Back.
He's a number 4 pick. He holds a lot of value.
But the number.
No matter how you slice it, though, league wide, he holds a lot of value. So you got to get someone like OG in return.
Yeah, for your fan base, but you really think? Look, here's the thing: if the Raptors had the number 4 pick, do you think they would have taken Keegan Murray?
I have no idea. I'm not there.
I doubt it. So that's my point. There are a lot of teams out there that would have taken him 5th, 6th, 7th. So you can take him 4th all you want. But like ultimately, there are teams that had Dyson over him. There are teams that had Jaden Ivey over him. There are teams that had Sharp over him, right? So you guys felt really highly about this guy. And when you do that, it better work out. Because I'll tell you right now, if Scotty Barnes hadn't worked out, that 4th pick loses all its value. And if Jalen Suggs had worked out, that 5th pick makes a lot more value. Do you know what I mean? Like at some point, once you attach a player to the pick, it has to actually like work out for you, you know? So if Keegan's balling out of his mind right now, yeah, that's the 4th overall pick, right? Is he balling out of his mind right now? No, he's not. So that's kind of my point. It's like you if you believe that at some point in the future this guy's going to absolutely pop for you guys, then I keep him because his stock's probably not going to be lower. But if you're like desperately thinking like, oh my God, we're going to miss the playoffs because we have all these young players who aren't contributing as much as we'd like, because there's back-to-back draft picks who are older players who are supposed to be super NBA ready. Like that's the other part of this you're kind of missing, right? I mean, granted, yes, like Keegan Murray, hell of a player. I really liked him. I think I told you that at the draft. Like I really like him. But like, where's the upside here? Like he's 22 years old, right? So I'm looking at that from that perspective. It's like I can't even like
the upside is like, he's a 10-year starter guaranteed because he does one thing very well, and that's shoot the ball. He gives out spacing. He's 6'8".
Right.
Like that is those guys don't grow on trees no matter how you slice it.
Who do you think has more value right now, Moses Moody or Chris Duarte? Be real.
Moses on youth?
Moses by far. Even though Moses has scored less points, played less minutes. Why? Because he's 20 years old and Chris Duarte is 25. That's my point. It's like the age element matters here. Like at least to a competent general manager on the other end, it's going to matter. So yeah, like someone might take a flyer on Keegan and you say, well, 10-year starter. Well, what the fuck am I giving you back? I'm giving you back exactly the player that Keegan is going to become for you on the low end, right? I'm just adjusting your timeline to match Fox and Sabonis. Because right now,
but who
Keegan
is
might
that
be
guy?
2 years away from. Well, that's exactly a question, right? Like, who is that guy? Is that guy someone like DeAndre Hunter? That's a guy who makes around $20 million, probably in that range. Is that guy RJ Barrett? You know, that's the guy I think like, you know, maybe, I mean, I don't necessarily think the Knicks are looking to blow it up and maybe they have too much attachment to RJ themselves, but I could see the Knicks, like if I was the Knicks, I would probably do it. I mean,
DeAndre makes 10.
For 5 years? No, there's an extension coming up on that.
Probably.
There definitely is, 100%. He signed for like
he's
90
25. Oh yeah, maybe.
And he's a way better player right now than he will be, right? So if the Hawks decide like, you know, to blow this up and they think Keegan Murray is a better fit, you know, next to these guys, I doubt it, but I'm saying someone like that. And honestly, like by trading DeAndre Hunter, you probably open up some minutes for AJ Griffin, who's just, I think, in my opinion, awesome.
But you don't think Keegan's awesome? Do you think AJ's awesome? You don't think Giga's awesome? Jesus Christ.
I think they're actually pretty comparable, to be honest. I really do. Like, I had them. So on my big board, I had Keegan 7th or 8th, and I had AJ like 10th. So yeah, I find them pretty comparable.
Someone said RJ Barrett over Keegan Murray. You're tripping. I don't know what that means.
Right now, yes, obviously. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right now,
I'll take
RJ is a better player.
What about Davion Mitchell, Alex Len, and Terrence Davis for Alex Caruso and Andre Drummond?
Huh. I guess that depends. Like, at least now your head's kind of in the right direction there. Yeah, like I could see why you would want to do that if you're the Bulls. But again, like, oh my God, you guys, like, you drafted a 24-year-old rookie. Like, you gotta look at that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing this guy now in his peak. Like, Davion Mitchell and OG. No, Davion. How old is Davion Mitchell? Like 25?
24.
He's going to be 25 this year. Right?
Probably.
So he's as old as OG Anunoby. To put that into perspective, OG Anunoby's been in the league for 6 years. So, like, he's, like, I'm basically like, yeah, I'm taking a rookie contract, but, like...
Davion Mitchell was born in 98, 24 years old.
So it's basically the same age.
September 5th. So he'll be 25 in September.
Right.
So next season.
I don't know. I think the teams that are probably ripe for the picking for you guys are teams that are tanking.
Would you trade DeMar DeRozan if you're the Bulls?
And
you're about to blow it up? Yeah, Keegan obviously has to be in that deal, right?
But you guys don't have future picks that you can trade me. And without future picks, I'm not doing that. And how many years does DeMar have? Like 2? Do you remember off the top of your head?
DeMar DeRozan has 2 years left.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's having a career year. I understand he's an older player, but, like, he's still a hell of a player. No. I would trade you Vucevic.
I don't want Vucevic.
I would trade you Nikola Vucevic for Keegan Murray easily.
I don't want Vucevic. He gets in the way, to be honest.
I mean, maybe they can play together. 2 big guys. Maybe you can back them up.
2 slow guys. $100 million backup.
Slowest guy in the league.
It's tough, man. It sounds like the Kings are going to stay put then, according to you, and how you value everybody but Kings players.
No, it's not everyone but Kings players. If Rashawn Holmes was putting up these numbers on the Atlanta Hawks, I would feel the exact same way. But it's not that he's not playing. It's a 2-year stretch that he's had since he signed that contract. Well, a 1.5-year stretch he's had. Right. It has not been good. Man, I'm trying to think of like a player that, like, what are the teams that are like Bogdanovich? There you go. I know the Detroit Pistons came out and said they wouldn't trade him, but I would trade him. If you wanted to trade Keegan Murray for Bojan Bogdanovich,
I'm not doing it.
That I would do.
I'm not doing it.
Why? You get, like, by far a huge upgrade on a player that's
guy that's always injured, which availability is the best ability. A guy that's extremely old that doesn't, like, quote unquote,
extremely old. He's 2 years older than you.
Let me see.
Isn't he at 31, 32?
Let me check. He is 33 years old.
Okay. But he's a shooter, and he's a really smart player, and he's a really good defender, and he's probably going to give you 2 more years of really good basketball.
He's not a really good defender. He's an okay defender.
He is a really good defender, or at least he was a really good defender.
That man was getting toasted against the Kings of the night.
Yeah, you can't base everything on what someone did against the Kings.
I've watched him play in Utah plenty. He's not a very good. He's an okay defender. He's not a minus, but he's not a plus either.
I stand corrected. He's pretty bad. Okay, never mind.
My eyes don't lie, brother. I've seen him.
Okay. But offensively, he's
offensively he's great.
Offensive player. Like, he's one of the best. So yeah, I think, I would add a protected first plus Bogdanovich for Keegan, Davion, and Rashawn. There you go.
What?
I would give you a protected first plus Bogdanovich for Keegan, Davion, and Rashawn.
Yeah, right. I'm not doing that. I know for a fact Monty ain't doing that.
What would it take to make that deal work for you?
I'm not giving up Keegan for a guy like Bogdanovich. I'm only giving Keegan for a guy that's a star or like an OG player.
You think Bogdanovich is better than OG?
I
mean,
don't.
defense, like on offense, Bogdanovich is way better than OG. Like way better than OG. Dude, he's carried the Detroit Pistons. He's so much better than Cade.
To like
carrying
2
their
wins.
offense.
To like 2 wins.
Dude, like, you got to see how close they are in some of these games. Like, he's carrying them right down to the wire. Like, he's not like the Pistons are not getting blown out anymore. Like with Cade, they were getting like smacked.
I would love Cade, but that's not gonna happen.
Not in any realistic.
No.
I have a perfect proposition for you.
What is it?
I know exactly the player. Okay, so he's a former lottery pick. He was picked 2nd overall. Still a lot of potential. His name is Marvin Bagley. Do you want him?
I don't.
What? You would take Marvin Bagley back?
Hell no, I was joking. No, Boyan is old. Yeah, but
I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, you can say he's old, but I'm telling you, man, like, this guy's gonna be really good for like another 2 years. Like, it's not just a 1-year thing with him. Like, he's doing really well right now. He doesn't have a huge like amount of mileage. And he's just a really smart player, really good shooter. Yeah. I don't know.
What you're telling me is that we're gonna stay put.
I mean, unless you're willing to part out with actual assets, or you're willing to give Harrison Barnes up for an albatross contract. Like, if you were willing to
I
give
think
up
you're
Harrison,
just undervaluing Keegan. Keegan is the only real asset they have in terms of a big trade. So I think you have to acknowledge that. And I don't think you've acknowledged that yet. Keegan, league-wide, right now, is perceived as their only really good asset. So if the Kings want a player that can match, I mean, DeRozan does. To me, DD doesn't match the timeline, but he does because he's on a 2-year deal, which I love.
Okay, let me put it this way: if you had to, if a rival general manager could do the entire draft all over again today, with all the benefit of watching these players now for 2-3 months, where do you think Keegan would be taken if a rival general manager could take it? So number 1 is Paolo. He's going number 1, right? I guarantee you Chet is still going top 5, right? Ben Mathurin has jumped him. He's definitely going top 5. Shaedon Sharpe is probably going top 5 now that people see he's not like unserious about basketball. Jaden Ivey has been hit or miss, but has flashed a ton of potential. He's definitely going top 5. We're talking like the 8th pick, bro. And I guarantee you Dyson's going over him too, because he's 19. So you're talking about him like he's a 4th pick. And I'm trying to tell you that if this draft happened again, he's going 9th already.
Okay.
You see my point? So really, you're treating this like it's the 4th pick, but I'm telling you, you actually have an overpaid 9th pick, because you have the 9th, 8th best player in this draft so far, who happens to be older than every player I mentioned. FYI, was kind of the whole point of getting a guy who's older than these guys. So what are the odds that Benedict Mathurin at 19 years old is just so far ahead of a 22-year-old. You see my point? This is kind of like the downside of picking an older player in the draft is you actually don't have the benefit of perception of value, perceptive future value. So if Keegan is, in fact, the 9th or 10th player, and I really do believe like that's even, there are other players that were picked like well into the teens and 20s that would give him some competition for that. But let's just assume he's the 9th pick, 9th, 10th pick. Well, he's got the salary of a 4th pick. So it's a little bit less than a 9th pick in a weird way. But let's just consider for the sake of argument it's a 9th pick. Now we feel a little bit differently. You know what I mean? You keep holding on to an asset like it is the 4th pick. I'll tell you right now, Jalen Suggs does not hold the value of a 5th pick. Jalen Suggs right now holds the value of a 2nd rounder. Or that's not true. He holds the value of like a 14th pick right now. There's still like some GM out there who's like, maybe I can recreate the magic. But he doesn't hold the value of, you see what I mean? Like, put it this way.
I get it. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. He'd probably go 9 right now, based on upside. But it depends on what. But it depends on what. Like the Kings, for the Kings, it made sense, and it still makes sense. So if I have to, just like OG, right?
You picked the best asset, because right now, if you had actually picked the guy who should have gone 4th in that situation, then you could actually trade for an OG. But now you can't, because now you're holding a 4th pick that you converted into 9th pick. Then you got to take the book from Bobby and Masai, right? What do? They take the 27th pick, which is Pascal Siakam, and then they convert him into a star, right? Like every asset you hold, you need to convert it into a better asset, either through development or through a trade or through whatever, through marketing. I don't know. So
do players not get better after 22?
Of course they do. He will get better, but you're not going to convince me that a guy who is better than him at 19 is going to go behind him in the draft. Like the whole concept here, look, the whole point is,
I get it.
We've never seen these guys in the NBA, right? So we didn't know how these guys were going to adjust. We didn't know how Ben Mathurin was going to adjust. But I'll tell you right now that bursty, quick, long athletes tend to do better in the NBA because there's more space. There's more space to attack all those gaps. And sure, Ben Mathurin's fallen a little bit behind, but let's be real. Like, I mean, he is 3 years younger and he is vastly outperformed your player. Now, is that on the Kings for maybe like prioritizing winning over prioritizing this guy? Because at the end of the day, if you want to trade a guy, you have to showcase him.
I think this is a good point too. Like, his usage rate is so low on this team that if he was playing on the Pistons,
dude, you're preaching to the choir there. Scotty Barnes, right? Scotty Barnes versus Cade Cunningham. Yeah, Scotty Barnes was averaging 15, but at the end of the day, like, Scotty Barnes was not 23 years old. They're 22 years old.
Yeah, I get I understand the perception. I get it. Age to some extent matters.
It totally does, especially when you're talking about between the ages of 18 and 25. Because the leaps in those years are like tremendous, right? Expected, right? When you think about when players take the quantum leap.
Is Keegan better than Suggs to you?
Hell yes. Hell yes. Way better.
Does he have more value than Suggs to you?
Yes. I think so. Because there's less data. If you play this out another year and he continues to struggle the way he is right now, and it's not just low usage right now, he's struggling across the board. Like, his defense hasn't been great. It's been all right, but it hasn't been great. I mean, his shot quality and 3-point attempt rate are awesome, but in terms of like passing,
James says that Keegan is just not that good.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, yeah, like when you look at a guy who had his physical advantages in college, you have to assume that there were certain things he's going to be able to do in college that he can't do at the NBA level. He's not a quick twitch, bursty athlete. I think that somewhat limits the cap on upside. I think there's only one version of Keegan Murray that works out, and that's like he just comes out like gangbusters, and and that ship has sailed to some extent. Like, if he comes out
for a trade.
Yeah, like for a trade. Like if you were going to boost his trade value as a 22-year-old rookie who's the so-so athlete, who's a so-so defender, he had to come out like lights out shooting. Like he kind of had to do what Ben Matherin's doing right now. That's the season that he needed to have as a 22-year-old rookie, taken 4th overall. Like when's the last time you saw someone take a 22-year-old 4th overall? Go back in the history of the world. It doesn't happen very often. Like I'm thinking Charlotte Bobcats, Emeka Okafor, 2nd overall. Like I think he was a 3-year player, right? 3-year, 4-year player. Like it's very rare because the perceptive upside there, like think about Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum at 18, 19, 20, 21. When did he take the leap? 21 to 22 is probably, I think 20 to 21 or 21 to 22 was the biggest leap that he's ever taken and probably is the biggest leap he'll ever take. A lot of GMs are afraid that when you draft a 22 to 24-year-old, which is something I think your front office just needs to figure out at some point, like that leap already happened in college. And that's how they were dominating. Because Keegan's senior numbers were like eye-popping. You know what I mean? But if you're an NBA prospect, a 4th overall, like let me give you an example. Scotty Barnes was picked 4th overall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Barnes is now in what would be his 3rd year in college. If he had stayed in college, this would be his 3rd year, right? If I dropped this version of Scotty Barnes right now, grown man, 5 for 5 against the Brooklyn Nets, bodying Kevin Durant, that version of Scotty Barnes, he would be a 21-year-old in college right now. I think he would average like 45 points per game.
No, but he
I mean,
averaged a
no,
lot.
he wouldn't want to, but he would be better than Keegan Murray. That's kind of my point. So like, it's like that advantage. You can't undersell it. So that's, and I mean, like, look, like if you hit in the draft, like if you do really, really well, like Walker Kessler, you think Walker Kessler has the value of a 22nd pick right now? No, he does not. He has proven that he can hang at the NBA level. He has answered serious questions that scouts had about him. I think even a guy like AJ Griffin, Dyson Daniels, I think all of these guys have technically improved their value relative to the pick they were picked at. And also, like, there's always a greater value to a known versus unknown, So if Paolo was worth X amount as the 1st overall pick, he's worth even more now that he's actually gotten it.
No, to your point, DP, Robert's actually making the best case that I've heard in a long time. And he's not wrong. I actually agree with him. Like, perceptionally speaking, right now, because Keegan would probably go 8 or 9, from 7 to 9, right? Somewhere in that range. That diminishes
if you had all the data, if
the
these
value.
teams could have, yeah.
So
you see what I mean? Like if you could see all the data that you have, like let's say for instance, like to the Kings fan out there saying like I hate Keegan. I mean, show them the text that I sent you when you guys drafted Keegan, right? Like I was okay with it. I was like, hey, you got a good player. Like you didn't pick Davion Mitchell. Like I was upset about your Davion pick because I was like, you guys fucked that up because there were better players in that draft. But like with Keegan, I was okay with it because if you're going to win now, he was probably more NBA ready than Jaden Ivey. And I still stick with that. I think right now he helps you win more than Jaden Ivey, right? But he doesn't help you win that much more than Jaden Ivey that it makes up for the gap in athleticism, age, potential. That's the gap, right? So
it does,
obviously,
if you think about it from a Sabonis and Fox perspective and why this works.
But Sabonis and Fox are not Kevin Durant. Sabonis and Fox are not like you.
But it's team building 101 though.
No, team building 101 says if you have an asset like a top 5 pick, you always take the best player. You never think about this other stuff. Never. Like the Raptors drafted Scotty Barnes, even though he is an awkward fit with Pascal Siakam, in my opinion, even though he couldn't shoot because he was the best asset. Because they knew at some point, I mean, and look what happened. This summer, Kevin Durant was offered for Scotty Barnes, right? That was a package that was offered. So that's my point. But if Scotty Barnes turns out like Jalen Suggs, they're not offering you Kyrie. They're not offering you anybody. They're not offering you Joe Harris. Like, that's kind of my point. So you got to maximize assets when you actually have them. And for a team that's lucky enough to draft top 4, you can't miss. Like, you can't miss that. That opportunity doesn't come along every now and again. Like, there are teams that will finish bottom 3 and will end up with the 6th pick this year.
I can see Keegan Murray average 20 points next year. I really can.
next year, next to
Yeah.
Fox and Sabonis. I doubt it.
Once
I very much
HB
doubt
is
it.
when if HB again, this comes back to usage and touches, right? If HB is gone,
Okay.
I think that makes a big difference in terms of the perceived value of a Keegan. I think Keegan
That's fair. That's
is
fair. But right now,
super slept on.
Gary Trent Jr. is averaging like 18 points per game, and I just told you earlier that he's pretty much worthless. And he's 23 years old. He's a year older than Keegan. Gary Trent Jr. is a
Right.
year older than Keegan Murray.
Keegan's also
Right.
6'8".
Gary Trent's 6'5". What's the big difference there? I understand the size. Yes, he has
that's a
plus
huge
size, and
difference.
that's definitely like one of the better points with him. But I mean, like let's look at
Trent's not 6'5".
Yeah, he is.
I don't care. I don't care what he's listed at. He's not 6'5".
He is 6'5". Have you met him?
I have.
He is 6'5". Dude, I've seen him
Trent.
standing next to Scotty Barnes. Like he's absolutely 6'5".
Yeah. He's not, but I mean, he's listed at that. I've seen the guy. I've stood next to him on the court. But yeah, I mean, that's something that
Again,
Kings
like-
fans have to think about, though, right? Because I think Charlie agrees with you. He is older, but he would look better on the bad team right now, and I think the perception would be a little bit different.
I mean, maybe the raw counting stats would look better, but like, how much better are you going to get not playing with Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, taking all that pressure off of you? It's the same argument as Scotty Barnes, right? People said Cade shot a worse percentage because Scotty had help, right? So it's like, that's the point. But Scotty had help, but Scotty was a very plus defender, very young,
And I love
19
Scotty.
years old, right? And he had that vision, and he had like the whole athletic package. Plus, he was way more productive. So yeah, if Keegan was averaging 15 points right now on like solid shooting splits, and he was like a lights out shooter, and now you're selling him as like a 22-year-old on a rookie contract under team control for at least 7 years, and he's a lights out shooter, and I know that, and he's a halfway competent defender. Well, now maybe you have like 7th overall pick value instead of 9th overall pick value, because you're still like not accounting for how much more teams still value Chet Holmgren despite the toe injury, right? Like he's still going to be more valuable than Keegan right now. That's just a fact. Like that guy was hyped to hell,
100%.
and he happens to be a white dude.
100%.
You know, like fan bases, NBA fan bases, like they clamor over like the next white hope, you know? So there's him, there's Paolo, there's Jabari. Jabari has been decent-ish, but I don't think he's done anything to play himself out of top 3, but he's close.
Who?
And then it's Jabari Smith. You think Ben Mathurin would go over him? I think it'd be close. I think Ben and Dyson go 4 or 5, and then Shaden probably goes 6. And then 7 is, you know, that's where it gets dicey.
Yeah. He's somewhere
know?
from 7 to 9 for sure. I agree.
Exactly. Jaden Ivey, 7, you know, easily, in my opinion. I think he still goes over him. Like for most general managers who had them, I think Jaden Ivey has expected how general managers expected him to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I
agree
think
with that
Keegan has
too.
been slightly worse. So he's at least 8 based on that. So he's at least 8 and potentially 9. So 8 to 9. So right. So like what was the value of the 8th or 9th pick? That's pretty much what you have. The only difference is the 8th or 9th pick was a variable that teams could, you know, do more with. Like they could pick the player they actually wanted. Now they're actually locked into Keegan Murray. Yeah, man. I really think like you might be overvaluing this asset, but it is.
That's
still
all
an
they
asset.
have at this point. Then that's literally all they have.
Well, this is why you don't make moves like this with draft picks. And it's like the messed up thing is like you guys hit on a draft pick in Tyrese and you let him go. We're not going to get into that debate again.
Yeah, but they
right?
got an all-star out of it, so I'm not mad at that.
But was part of the thinking of getting out of Tyrese, I'm just curious, like was part of the thinking of getting off of Tyrese like to free up space for Davion? I really hope not.
I really hope not. No, I just feel like they felt like they were getting a 25-year-old all-star.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, man.
he's 3 years older than
Yeah.
than Tyrese. Fox is 2 years older.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Anyway, man, I don't think we're gonna get a trade done today, and it's 6 a.m. over here.
Jesus
That's
Christ,
crazy.
it's 3
There's like
a.m.
22
here.
people with us, and they're just like
Yeah.
listening to us wax poetic. That's super cool. Like your fan base is awesome.
I appreciate you, brother. Means a lot. We gotta get that Şengün video done soon. He's
Yeah,
having
we'll-
to me. He's really good, bro. Houston's fucking using them the wrong way, and he's still putting up great numbers.
A really good example of a team that has used their draft picks pretty well. I really like almost all their young players.
Me
Josh
too.
Christopher. I even like Daishen Nix. Some people don't. I do. I still think Usman Garuba.
Usman
holds value
Garuba.
for the value of where the pick that they had, and I think Jalen Green started turning it around. I don't know, like Jalen Green versus Cade Cunningham. To me, it should be like I don't think that's conclusive anymore. I think that definitely should go to Jalen Green.
I would have drafted Book Knight over Davion. That was obviously pre-draft, but
Yeah, that hasn't worked out that well either.
that hasn't
But,
worked out that well. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of shows you, man. Like I think the Raptors. Like I was trying to figure out like how do the Raptors draft so well consistently? Because like during our live show, I asked this question because we were talking about trades because Raptor fans are panicking. They're like, "Oh my god, we need to blow it up, trade everyone for picks," you know. So I'm like, when's the last time the Raptors had multiple first round picks? And we were thinking about it, and it was 2016. And you know who we picked?
Who?
Number 9, Jakob Poeltl. Number 27, Pascal Siakam.
That's right.
Hit. Everyone, both of those guys would go well above where they were picked right now. I guarantee you Jakob goes top 7, top 8 in that draft. And Pascal Siakam probably goes first or second in that draft today. So it's like, that's how you maximize. That's how you like actually... What was that comment? Leo is a recent good discovery, so I had to come after Rob's stream ended. Ha, that's funny, and Rob is here. That's hilarious.
Sung Jin Woo. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? All right.
It's late, man. I
Yeah, it is.
appreciate
It
you.
is. Show.
Have you're probably gonna sleep like 2 hours before you get back to work.
I'm probably gonna sleep for an hour, walk my dog, and then get back to work. Yeah, I mean, editing is. I need
know.
to tell you, editing's a bitch. Okay.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Appreciate you. Thank
All
you.
right. Peace, man.
Yep. That was Robert Therapin. Sorry, basketball. Make sure you guys go hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the notification, man. That's my brother right there. Fudge, man. It's 3 a.m. I did not expect this to go 3 hours. This is probably the longest stream, second longest stream I've ever done. Ah, jeez. I'm supposed to do a video for Kenyon too and the Raptors. Fuck. Jeez. Well, it's tough. I think Robert made a great point, and I do agree in terms of where he would be in the redraft. Keegan would definitely be anywhere from 7 to 9. He's not a top 5 pick as of today, especially if you consider the age factor into it. But he just fits with what the Kings need. So regardless of what his perceived value is, he fits exactly what this team needs, which was a stretch 4. That's what he is. He can stretch it out, I mean, from deep. And, I don't think it's a question of when, of if, it's when it happens, when he starts to shoot, 39 to 42% from beyond the arc on 7 to 9 attempts a game. That's going to happen. Like, that is 95% going to happen. I'm not worried about that. But if they're willing to part ways with them, in their minds, they have to get a player that they really like. So if that's the only asset that you have right now for the Kings, well, you got to be very careful or just be patient and just ride it out. If they're willing to ride it out this year and see what they can do, if Harrison's money comes off the books, You have roughly about $26 million. You create some buzz in the offseason. You make the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. And that may be the best thing you can do because there's a lot of good players out there. But what are teams willing to give them up for? I'm going to be fascinated because whatever happens at the deadline, we're going to come back to the stream and be like, okay, this is where things went well, where they didn't go well. I can't wait for the deadline now because now I'm fascinated to think about what might or might not happen. 10:14 p.m. in Australia, about to go to sleep. Keegan needs to work on catching the ball without fumbling it and then attacking the closeout. I think Keegan's going to be fine. Keegan's going to be a 10-year starter, no matter what. I think there's value in that. Being a glue guy, being a consummate professional, those things matter. But in the trade right now, we'll see what happens, man. But hey, I appreciate everybody that was on here earlier. Watched it in the morning. I'm gonna have to put chapters on here. But I thank you guys so much on behalf of the entire CK family, Basketball Zone family. I thank you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.